Hi, everyone. Josh Rugger and Peyton Langford here.
Yep.
Dan Scoff will be joining us shortly, but we went ahead and started the stream, Peyton, because these storms are starting to get concerning right
Yeah.
now, just off to the south and west of the river.
Yeah, they're just knocking on our doorstep, just a hop, skip, and jump away from pushing into the river valley.
Yes, and they're going into a very favorable environment for QLCS tornado potential.
Mhm.
I don't know if many of you are familiar with the NATO cast, but it had
I haven't seen the latest one this morning.
it had 15 to 30% probabilities in the river valley.
Okay.
It had the
So
pink.
it's jumped up even more.
It had the pink in the
Really?
river valley, which is
Wow.
crazy. I mean, it must be seeing something that the models aren't, because the models, I mean, they're not very impressive with the SIG-TOR parameters, but we look at meso-analysis, and obviously the 0 to 3 kilometer cape is increasing quite a bit in the river valley. I mean, in excess of 175 in some spots.
It's crazy. This just goes to show the difference in areas that were worked over yesterday compared to areas that didn't see hardly anything. We saw a few isolated showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder in the river valley yesterday, but I mean, not a whole lot.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's primed, ready to go.
It's primed and
Locked
ready to
and
go.
loaded.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you need proof of that, let's just take a look at Megadoppler right now. And you can see another tornado warning just got issued as soon as we switched over. I am fully expecting, Peyton, just a line of tornado warnings along this.
There probably will be, because especially with everything moving fast, a lot of embedded circulations, it's, the safe idea to just go ahead and boom, warn it, boom, warn it. And what you don't see on Halloween including Megadoppler, you see all these severe thunderstorm warnings. However, they all have a tornado possible tag.
Yeah, except for this one.
Except for that one, yeah.
Ironically enough,
some
which
reason.
this is the one that should have the tornado possible out of all of them, because the farther south and west you go, the more likely you are to run into that tornado potential. What's interesting is that we've now got this line break. We were actually talking about that off air, and these storms are doing these line breaks right now, which is causing these embedded circulations. So really, it's not like even a perfect line of storms. It's like a broken line of supercells, and they're all they all have tornado potential with them, at least along and south of Interstate 40 in the river valley. Now, for Northwest Arkansas, if we jog a little bit farther north here, this is just a big blob of heavy rain.
Right.
For now. Now, here's the deal. I think this will continue for Northwest Arkansas. The reason why is because a lot of these storms are getting north of that outflow boundary. And number two, we don't have as much low-level instability in these locations. Therefore, that favors more of that heavy rain potential. And even if these storms do make them into Northwest Arkansas, I would say they would be more coastal.
Right. I do want to watch that line break and that reflectivity drop as that pushes in.
Yeah, that is
over
interesting.
towards Stigler.
Yeah, that is
Eufaula, Chakota, that kind of area.
This to me is the most concerning storm right now. This one right here, and Dan was actually talking to me about this near Quinton, just off to the north and east, southwest of Stigler, as you just mentioned. This one right here probably has the most concerning tornado potential at this time.
Yeah,
we'll have to watch this one closely too, because this will be moving into maybe into portions of Sequoia County pretty soon. Both of these are moving towards Sequoia County right now. But I would say this one looks most impressive, Peyton. I think this one's lining up with the bulk shear. I think it's also running into the most favorable 0 to 3 kilometer cape, and we need to watch that one very closely. Let's see, how fast are these storms moving? 25 miles per hour. So not moving too terribly fast right now, but I think that will change. I think they will speed up.
Yeah, you want to track real quick?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get a storm track on that. So Peyton's going to do that behind the scenes, and I'm gonna stay over here and keep an eye here on this storm. But again, most of these storms are moving off to the north and east at about 25 miles per hour. Again, we've got 3 tornado warnings in effect to the southwest of our area, but right now none of these are impacting Northwest Arkansas or the River Valley yet. So in my opinion, guys, with the nature of this severe setup in the River Valley, and Peyton and I were talking about this off air, but I think we are going to probably transition to live coverage very soon, a lot sooner than we normally would, just because it's a precautionary thing, because these storms could ramp up and drop tornadoes very quickly in the River Valley. Now, Brendan is freaking out about Northwest Arkansas, and here's the deal, Brendan. The thing is that if the 0 to 3 kilometer instability and the shear is not favorable in Northwest Arkansas, then these storms are going to, they're not going to be as strong.
Yeah, we're not even seeing any lightning.
Yeah, we're not even. Yeah,
Northwest Arkansas.
I mean, look at this. I'm going to go back to base reflectivity. That's a great point, because look at this. You see hardly any lightning with this
heavy rain.
This rain, and yeah, this is going to cause flooding potential. but there's not a whole lot of lightning with that. Now we jog a little bit farther to the south. You can see some lightning on this tornado warning. Quite a bit of lightning here. These storms are running into more favorable instability. And look at that, another tornado warning.
Yeah.
So they're just going to see an arc of tornado warnings here in portions of McCurtain County and maybe LaFleur
We
County.
do have a
soon.
track for that circulation we were talking
Yeah.
about near Quinton.
Yeah, so here's the track that Peyton made. So Peyton, you want to take us through that?
Yeah, so as that pushes northeast at around 25 miles per hour, Rocky Ridge Church 1213, Stigler at 1225, Harrison, Oklahoma
Yeah.
at 109,
Yeah.
Brent at 113, and Salisaw at 121. So it'll be a while. You got some time, That's not for another hour and a half by the time we reach Salisaw. But Stigler here pretty close, and they just kind of tweaked that tornado warning.
Yeah, kind of adjusted it a little bit, almost like
They included both.
Oh,
So what they did was they dropped one
and just
and
issued
then
one for
issued
both
one
of
for
them.
both.
Severe thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado. So they're talking about
30
two
miles
of
per
them.
hour
So
now.
those are moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So there's two areas of rotation there. Let's go
Mhm.
back to Mega Doppler and take a look at that. There it is right there. Two areas of rotation that we're watching there in Oklahoma. Then we're also watching this area of rotation near Stigler. I'm going to take off lightning real quick. This one, again, it's kind of broad still, but these are only getting stronger. So unlike a lot of these storms that we may have seen in the past, these storms are actually strengthening as they push into the river valley because the environment is much more favorable now.
And we're getting it deeper into the day, so we're warming up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at this Waldron camera because look at that. That is there's some sunshine out there still. A little bit more instability starting to roll in. Let's I'm going to go back to weather one here, Peyton, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
And I'm going to look at the
Good idea.
radar with instability over it. So we're going to have a little bit of time to load. There it is. And look at this. This is exactly what we were just talking about for Northwest Arkansas. There's not a whole lot of instability in Northwest Arkansas right now.
Yeah.
And that's why these storms are not really expected to take off as much as the river valley. Now, that could very well change. Obviously, maybe the instability surges north, but I have my doubts. And the reason why is because we've seen so much cloud cover in NWA.
Right.
So that warm front can't lift as far north. And that outflow boundary, again, is a little bit farther
100%.
south and west. So the farther those storms are away from the outflow boundary, the tendency is for them to weaken a little bit more. But in the river valley, a lot more instability to work with right now. Look at all that instability, especially in LaFleur County, Scott County, Logan, Crawford, Sebastian County. These storms are going to be run into a much more favorable environment. So we're going to have to watch that very closely there, Peyton. Let's see here. I'm going to go back down to the southwest and take a look at these tornado warnings again. Let's see here. Van Buren timeline. So you know what? While we're still here, while we have the chance, let's go ahead and look at the latest model. Because we're not going to have time to do this in just a few moments. So we might as well do it and show you what Future Track is showing real quick. That's a good idea. I think these storms are going to be moving in within the next 30 minutes into our weather coverage area, or at least the most dangerous storms. My goodness, this model is terrible. But we'll show it anyway because it does give a general idea of the storm timing and everything. Your mouth is agape right now, as is mine. This is just unbelievable. But this is useless. I'm not even going to show that, honestly.
Yeah.
That's completely useless. What would be the point? That's not even close to what's happening. These storms are about to move in right now, and it has it coming in at 4 p.m. No way. Okay, this is a little bit better. The graph 3 kilometer is a little bit better. Still not perfect, but you can see those storms starting to roll into LaFleur County within the next hour. So if you live in Poteau, you live in Heavener, you live towards the Stillwell area, Sequoia. I think within the next hour or so, you're going to start seeing some severe thunderstorms move into your area. Those will start moving into Fort Smith, Van Buren, and Alma right around 1:32 p.m. So I know a lot of folks were wondering in the River Valley right now, when are those storms going to cross the Arkansas-Oklahoma border? I think that's going to be right around 2 p.m.
We got to watch this pretty close, Josh.
Yeah, that's taken off. I mean, that's the most concerning storm right there.
Where that line break.
Yep.
And that reflectivity drop.
That's been the most concerning storm all morning. But if we keep this future track going here, you notice those thunderstorms, they start accelerating. They start moving really quickly. So they should be in far eastern portions of our weather coverage area by 3:30. I think most of the severe weather will be east of I-49 by 2:33 p.m.
Yeah.
Now, this model is out to lunch when it comes to stratiform rain. I think it's still going to be raining pretty hard in Northwest
Oh,
Arkansas
for
at
sure.
3:30. But the severe weather potential ends when that initial line pushes through. So that's the good news with this type of event. But these storms will start moving out. I think the severe weather potential drops off by 4:35 p.m. In our area, with more rain expected in Northwest Arkansas. I think it's still
Right.
going to be raining in Northwest Arkansas. So that's what we're looking at right now in terms of timing. I know a lot of folks want to look at that again. I think these storms are going to be moving into the I-540 corridor within the next couple of hours. So if you live
Yeah.
in Van Buren, Fort Smith, you need to be watching this very closely, and you need to go ahead and prepare for the potential for severe weather, because it is pretty imminent right now, at least in eastern Oklahoma and portions of the River Valley. Peyton, I'm going to go back to Megadoppler here because,
Yeah.
that is a true TVS, as you were
Mhm.
just talking about there. That's located southwest of Stigler.
Oh yeah.
And look at that rotation starting to tighten up a little bit. And you were
Mhm.
showing normalized rotation. That's trouble right there. I'm interested to see if that keeps tightening up there. And again, this type of setup too, with the amount of 0 to 3 kilometer cape that we have,
That's textbook. The line break,
yeah, everything.
surge, the 0 to 3 kilometer.
But notice
cape,
how this storm
shear.
weakened so quickly.
Yeah.
I
it
mean,
did. That part did.
it was ramping up, and then it encountered this cooler air, and it's now just kind of a big blob of rain again. Now there's still some broad rotation there, but it's weakening. So this is why Northwest Arkansas hopefully will dodge the bullet. We'll see.
Yeah.
You never want to let your guard down, but so far, based on what I'm seeing in Northwest Arkansas here, at least these storms are going to be moving into NWA. Looks like mostly a heavy rain threat right now. So we'll keep a close eye on it. But let's see here. Why is there always a higher threat in the River Valley compared to other areas? Well, that's a good question. And the reason why is because it's farther south.
Yeah.
So-
there's a lot more fuel.
Mhm.
The moisture from the Gulf can push in a lot more, and it gets kind of washed out across Northwest Arkansas once you get into the Ouachita Mountains and farther north into the Bostons. It gets a little bit more dispersed. It doesn't really pool. And that's what you, I guess, want for severe weather, is that moisture to pool. And in the River Valley, it can. It
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah.
It can definitely just kind of funnel in there and pool. And so that's why we'll see some areas with a lot more instability.
Another thing too, with the Ouachita and Boston Mountains, located squarely on either side of the River Valley, especially along I-40, I think that acts as an enhancement of your loadable wind shear.
Oh yeah.
It
sure,
kind of
it
acts
definitely
like
can.
a vacuum. It just
Yeah.
sucks all that air, and it makes that spin faster.
Mhm.
So that's why you typically see maybe some more tornado potential in the River Valley compared to Northwest Arkansas. But regardless, we have to keep a close eye on these storms right now. One thing, fix your audio. Okay, says Sam. All right, Sam says our audio's bad. So, folks, if our audio's bad, let us know. We'll do that. But Sam, if you have some issues with your audio, we're gonna make sure everything's okay. But if anybody else is having issues with audio, just let us know. Looks like Victoria says the audio is fine. So a lot of people are saying the audio is fine. So Sam, just make sure that's
Double
bumped
check
up
it.
there. Double check that. Yep, Dan says it's good. So just double check that there, Sam. But here's the deal. The one thing I wanted to mention about this setup, Peyton.
Yeah.
And NATOcast may have been hinting at this as well. Unlike maybe previous events that we've
Mhm.
had, where you favor more of those brief tornadoes, there is that potential for a longer track tornado today.
Yeah.
With the amount of 0 to 3 kilometer cape that we have in place with the bulk shear situation, this is a very favorable environment for QLCS tornadoes, which is why you saw that hashed area
Yeah.
for significant tornado potential. You know
Definitely
what?
cranked up.
That crept up a little bit more, and I'm actually going to show that here on Weather One. So just stand by for a few moments while we get that loaded up. But I want to kind of show you where that higher tornado threat is today. It is located over northeast Texas, but it's basically a QLCS 10%
Mhm.
hashed, Peyton,
Man,
which is rare to see.
don't really see that a lot often.
Yes. But if I go back to Weather One here and I show you the latest tornado potential, so Northwest Arkansas is still under a very low threat. So we're not going to let our guard down for Northwest Arkansas. But you can obviously see that the higher end threat is located along and south of Interstate 40.
Yeah.
And that significant tornado threat for that long track tornado is located in southeast Oklahoma, southwest Arkansas, into portions of Texas. It looks like Dallas may have dodged a bullet because you can see the tornado potential shifting east there. So those storms kind of came in a little bit earlier than anticipated.
Mhm.
So I think that's why that tornado potential is dropping off in Dallas. But There is still the very low threat for tornadoes in northwest Arkansas. We're not discounting the risk just based on what we currently see with mesoanalysis, surface observations. It's not the most favorable setup. All right, new severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible. Here we go, Peyton. Right on cue.
Drum roll, please.
Let's see where that is. So that is now located in LaFleur County.
Okay,
And
just popped up. It's almost the same warning as it was before, same kind of shape. It's just now for a farther out portion.
yeah, and it's because these storms are moving, like about 25 miles per hour. They're not moving fast right now, but I still think they will accelerate. But it does include LaFleur County, 60-mile-per-hour winds. The hail potential is not going to be high today. I'm not too concerned about hail. But there's another tornado possible tag. So here we go, Peyton. Here comes a flurry of severe thunderstorm warnings. We're about to see a bunch of those issued in the River Valley. This is loading up right now. And here we go, folks. So this severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag is in far southern portions of LaFleur County, it looks like. I think you're going to see that pop up in just a minute here. So LaFleur County has a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings with tornado possible tags attached to them. And I think it's accounting for both areas of rotation that we've got going on right now. So we're going to have to watch that very closely, Peyton. We're going to have to watch multiple areas of rotation.
I mean, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 areas that have brief circulations. This would be the strongest, of course, with that tornado warning. About to head into Stigler in just a little bit, pretty much knocking on the doorstep. Another one way down yonder.
Yep.
To Clayton. But there's all these little embedded sort of broad circulations that all will need to be watched very carefully, especially right along.
That's
here.
the most concerning one right now.
Yeah.
That one's still, and again, they are continuing to intensify right now as well. Let's see. I'm going to go to, let's look at our Kisser FM camera. The contrast, not great, but.
Is that looking southwest?
That's looking southwest, yeah. So the temperatures are rising in the River Valley really quickly. I actually want to look at that right now. So let's look at our temperatures across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. And let's just kind of see the environment that we've got going on right now.
The Pushmataha County tornado warning has been canceled.
Okay.
Still get that one in Haskell County.
But still have that tornado possible tag too on that severe thunderstorm. Yep.
1,000,000%.
Yep. All of them will have that. But look at this. This just kind of tells you the whole story. Look at the temperature in Fort Smith compared to Bentonville and Fayetteville. Now, Fayetteville has gotten a little bit warmer, I will say that. But still, you can see where the instability is pulling in just from that temperature map. 74 degrees in Fort Smith, 69 in Fayetteville, 64 in Bentonville. We go to our dew points as well. You'll see that dew points are well into the 60s in Fort Smith.
Man,
starting
to 60s.
Starting to get a little bit of moisture pulling into Fayetteville too.
Yeah.
It's sitting at 62, but it's not as high. The moisture quality is probably not as high either in Fayetteville as well. That's another thing you have to consider is what's the depth of the moisture? What's the quality of the moisture?
Yes.
And I guarantee you in Fayetteville, it's not as deep because the warm front is not lifting north right now.
The new warning.
New tornado warning knocking on the doorstep.
It goes up to the Sequoia County line.
Yep. So let's take a look at that there.
With that new warning.
Peyton, you want to make a new storm track on this?
Yeah, I will.
Yep.
35 miles per hour.
So it's starting to surge to the north and east a lot quicker. So we're watching that very closely there. So here's the new tornado warning. This is again not in our weather coverage area right now. I can't stress that enough. It's not in our weather coverage area, but it is starting to point towards portions of Sequoia County right now. So if you live in Salisaw, if you live in Brent, Gans, Muldrow, Roland, you need to be keeping a close eye on this right now because this storm is starting to intensify and it's starting to move towards Sequoia County as we speak.
Got that new track.
Yep. So Peyton's got the new track. And Peyton, you can break that down for us right now.
Yeah, so this newest track, Stigler Regional, in just a little bit at 12:27, Garland at 12:32, Harrison, Oklahoma at 12:54, Brent at 12:57, Salisaw at 1:02, Gans at 1:07, and then Brushy School at 1:13. And that goes out an hour. So, if you're upstream a little bit, you got some, or downstream, I guess, you have some time to get ready. But if you're a Stigler, it's pretty much right on top of you.
Yeah, that's a little confusing. Harrison, Oklahoma. I paused on that too when I saw that on the track.
Make sure you specify Harrison,
It's
Oklahoma.
Harrison, Oklahoma. Harrison, Arkansas is good right now. But those storms will still hit Harrison later today,
Mhm.
Harrison, Arkansas. It's just that right now we're talking about storms in Oklahoma.
Yep.
Looking at that rotation, it still looks pretty broad, I would say.
No,
Peyton.
normalized rotation.
Yeah, but it's pretty intense. Look at that. You go up in tilts. It's definitely
Pretty consistent.
intensifying. Yep. Let's look at normalized rotation. Little bit weaker,
Yeah.
I would say, in that new scan, but it might be cycling as well, and that will happen with these storms. Still kind of, you can still see the line break there. Let's look at the lightning situation. Still got some lightning on that storm, so it means it is intense. There's that tornado warning, that old tornado warning that got dropped off.
Yep.
Let's go a little bit farther south here. Let's check out these storms that are knocking on the doorstep of LaFleur County. So if you live in Heavener, Poto, a little bit farther east towards Page, you need to be watching these storms because they're knocking on our doorstep right now. Same deal in Whitesboro. So these storms are about to hit LaFleur County. Now, these southern storms, interestingly enough, don't look, there's not a whole lot of rotation on them right now. But that could change. I might be seeing a little area right here that's starting to pick up southwest of Pickens. So we'll watch that really closely. But these storms are now about 20 minutes away from our weather coverage area. And again, any one of these storms could start intensifying very quickly. Yeah, Joel's talking about the warm front right now, and I know a lot of folks are concerned about severe weather potential in northwest Arkansas. We're watching it. Again, if we look at some of our WeatherBug Network cameras, let's look at Mount Sequoia real quick here. Let's just look at this. This has been the scene all morning long, Peyton.
Yeah.
Just a thick deck of clouds.
Exactly.
And that's typically less favorable for severe weather. It means that the warm front can't lift as far north. I mean, think of it like as a offensive lineman. The cloud coverage is like an offensive lineman. It's blocking the defensive lineman, which is the instability, which is trying to sack northwest Arkansas with severe weather potential.
Exactly.
And that cloud coverage is going to keep that instability from surging as far north. Now, some of it can still leak in, right? It can still get closer, but it slows down, and that's why these fronts become stationary.
Yeah.
So that's why the severe weather potential may be a little bit lower.
Dude, that bulk shear vector, not great for
Yep.
the southern part of that line.
Yep. Yeah, that's what Dan's saying too. It's not line normal.
Yeah.
Because
there is a small part where it is, but even that, where we see that tornado warning, is slowly falling apart.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Which is good. We hope that continues throughout the rest of the late morning and afternoon, which now we are in the afternoon because it's 12:17. Believe it or not. I mean, we've all been in here so much lately that it's hard to keep track of time.
Yep.
But thankfully, this will be the last gasp, I think, of severe weather potential for a little while, at least. Now we're about to head into May, which can sometimes get even more active, which would be hard to do based on how active it's been in April. But we know we're going to have plenty more severe weather setups, but at least we're going to get a little break over the next several days.
Nowhere near active as Northeast Arkansas. We're basically sunshine every day compared to Northeast Arkansas.
I know. It's crazy what's happened up there. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and do it. We might as well do it right now because we won't have a whole lot of time. We won't have a whole lot of time to do it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the instability for Northwest Arkansas. Again, the problem with these models.
That's mostly unstable, Cape.
Yeah. The problem with these models is, Peyton, is that they're not even forecasting the sim reflectivity correctly.
No.
Especially the HRRR. So it's like, I don't even know if I trust what it shows. But it gives you an idea of what's going on. It's showing instability, making it into Northwest Arkansas. But are the storm modes going to be favorable? Is it going to be line normal? Again, that's something to take into account. I still think there will be very heavy rainfall in Northwest Arkansas, but we'll see. We'll see. This model does have it lifting north, and it does cause flooding, as Lena said. It does cause flooding. We are concerned about the flooding potential. That is something to be concerned about.
Or in that moderate.
Yep.
Excessive rainfall.
Yep. And I think it's did it extend farther north, Peyton? Or is it still in the river valley?
Don't know. I got it.
Yeah, he'll look at that. Let's look at the SIG TOR parameters as well from the HRRR.
Oh, it actually is clipped out of Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, so it's just in the River Valley. So this is not showing anything SIG tour wise, Peyton. But
Yeah.
also remember that our color table doesn't show the lowest parameters as well. And
Right.
I would
Those would
say,
always show up.
yeah. So I would say this is kind of more of a subtle setup. It's a QLCS type setup, which typically the SIG tour doesn't do a great job with.
Right.
What really matters with tornado potential with these QLCS setups is it line normal to the bulk shear, and is there enough 0 to 3 kilometer cape? 0 to 3 kilometer cape is very high right now.
Yeah.
That is for sure. You know what? You already have it pulled up on weather too, right?
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Yeah. Go ahead and show the meso analysis
Oh, the
that you had pulled up.
Yeah.
We might as well just show the 0 to 3 kilometer cape. So there it is right there. Zoom that in just a little bit. And yeah, Peyton zoomed that in. So look at that 0 to 3 kilometer cape. Big time cape bombs in the River
For
Valley
sure.
there. But look at the bulk shear as well. It's more oriented southwest, northeast kind of.
I don't know if anyone can see the cursor, but
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It's pointed towards the southwest to the northeast.
Yep.
If you wanted tornadoes, it would be more pointed towards the west southwest.
Yes. That would be more favorable.
Be
For
more
tor-
perpendicular.
Exactly. But we do have plenty of bulk shear there.
We do, so we have more freedom.
More freedom, more leeway, which we always talk about. It can deviate a little bit and still produce tornadoes. But there's that Stigler storm ramping up again, Peyton.
Yep.
It's going through its little cycles right now, and it's tapping into that low level instability right now. And we just went back to Mega Doppler here, and Peyton zooming in.
The normalized rotation.
Yep.
It was a bit stronger, so green. Whoops. Green would be a little bit stronger. They see it
Yep.
earlier.
And it even had a TVS.
Yeah.
So probably there was probably some pretty intense winds
Mhm.
at the very least northeast of Quentin.
Now it's dropped a little bit.
Yep.
But there's the circulation there.
Mm-hmm. It's trying. It's trying right now. So have we heard if Gravit was a tornado or straight line winds yesterday? So that was straight line winds.
Colby Ward and Van Buren.
Yep, Colby Ward's up in Van Buren. But Anna, Gravit did experience straight line winds yesterday.
As of what we know so far.
As of what we know so far. But based on the pictures that I've seen and the survey that was done, I would say that was straight line winds.
Yeah.
Based on the way the damage was assessed, or at least the direction the damage was.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked if they found something out there, but
Yeah.
I mean, I also don't think there was anything personally.
Let's show old Colby Ward here,
Yeah.
shall we? The Colby effect itself in the flesh.
In the flesh, going down there to kill all those storms.
Thank goodness. Hopefully.
Doing
Yeah.
the Lord's work right there, Colby.
Doing the Lord's work right now. So let's see where he is on that custom spotter network. Oh, there he is right there.
Mm-hmm.
So he is moving now towards the Van Buren area, I believe. And I think he's getting in position there in Sequoia County.
Yeah.
That storm continues to take that track off to the north and east. It will be arriving right around where Colby's setting up.
Good.
So we
So
might get a
we'll
good
die.
view. Yeah, well, hopefully.
He died before our eyes.
Let it die, let it die,
Let
let
it
it shrivel up and die. We want it to. So that's Colby's stream right now. So he'll keep moving off to the southwest towards the storms. We go back to Mega Doppler here. You can see Colby's current position right there. So he's moving southwest along I-40 towards Van Buren right now, or probably moving towards Sequoia County, I presume.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to switch back to one panel if that's okay.
Yeah,
there,
for sure.
Peyton. Let's go here to the storm relative velocity. So again, you can see some of that inflow there that's trying to suck in. Now, one thing that may save us too is that that's a lot of rain, cool air
Yeah.
that it's sucking in. So that may be why it hasn't tornadoed yet.
So it might be on the weekend.
Yeah. So that's a good sign right there. But
New tornado warning coming.
and is it going to get extended? You think into? Is that what they
No,
said on?
It does not. It does not get extended.
Okay. So we're watching this very closely. There's that new velocity scan right there. So there is that area of rotation that's moving over Stigler right now. Again, this is not in Northwest Arkansas or the River Valley, but yeah, Bella got it.
Yep.
Bella got it. She knows what's up. Did they determine what Grove had yesterday morning? So that has not been determined yet.
No.
But
Or J. Or J.
Or J. But the damage that happened in J looked like tornado damage.
Yeah.
So they're still assessing that damage.
Right.
But I would not be surprised if that ended up being a tornado.
There's no word on if they will survey either.
Really?
Yeah, they haven't said if they will or not.
That's
So
why
we
we'll
don't
do it.
You
Has anyone reported in from Watts or Cincinnati? Was that just Scud, or was there a quick touchdown of a tornado? Still unknown.
They sent in a video
Yep.
to the National Weather Service at Tulsa. They'll look at it, but there's no power flashes.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell. I mean,
That looked weird.
here's the deal.
Sus.
Scud doesn't move like that.
Mhm.
So that's all I'm going to say on that front. I personally think it was a brief touchdown. Like a very brief touchdown. Like when you see something like that visually, it had to have dropped something.
Something very briefly, maybe for a few minutes.
But maybe it was only an RFD,
Mhm.
A surge or something like that. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's it. But there had to have been something.
No power flashes at all, though.
Yeah.
Weird.
So it's a weird situation. Is this going to head towards Southwest City, Missouri? So right now, Northwest Arkansas, to me, Peyton, there's not a whole lot there that looks too concerning. Now, there is this one cell right here that broke away from the line. That is a little concerning, I would say. That one's moving northeast right now. But if you look at storm relative velocity, the rotation has dropped off pretty significantly. Now, there might be an area of interest there southwest of Kiefton that we'll have to watch. Northwest Arkansas, though, at this time, I do not see anything that's imminent in terms of significant severe weather potential. Now, that could change within the next couple of hours, but these initial thunderstorms are going to be moving into the river valley within the next 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even earlier than that. But if you live in Brent and Sallisaw, you need to be getting ready right now, I would say. You need to be watching the storm very closely. If they extend that tornado warning, you would be next in it.
Yep.
So we'll have to watch that very closely there. There's that area of rotation again near Stigler. But a lot of folks asking about NWA again. Right now, Northwest Arkansas, not too under the gun. A lot of folks still asking about the Lincoln area as well. We just talked about it. If you're just joining in, nothing has been determined on that yet. But we'll keep assessing it and figuring things out. Under further review. We're doing like the longest review of all time.
Yeah, send it to New York.
Yeah, exactly. Or send it into Norman, I guess. Norman would be our New York.
Right.
So these storms that are heading into LaFleur County right now have weakened for now. So that's great. Hopefully that continues. They're not line normal.
No.
Which is why they are a little bit weaker. But if we look at the lightning situation, I bet the lightning's dropped off quite a bit. Yeah. Not as much lightning as what we were seeing earlier on those storms. A lot more lightning on this storm that's in heading into McCurtain County. Let's look at this storm. So not a whole lot there. Maybe some rotation there, but that I don't think lines up. So we'll watch this storm a little bit closer as it moves off to the north and east. But that would be clipping far southern portions of our weather coverage area.
Yeah, I'd probably go through far southern LaFleur County and then probably cut right through Scott County as far as the motion of this line.
Yep. But the most concerning storm is heading into Sequoia County.
And I'm not even that concerned anymore. It looks like it's weakening.
Yeah. It definitely looks weaker there on that scan, but it could also be cycling again.
Thanks to Colby.
Yep.
Thanks to Colby. Yeah, the Colby effect, baby. The Colby effect, baby. He is heading in there right now. In fact, speaking of Colby, let's show that there with Dan Scoff now in studio. Did you get your Baja Blast?
Got this protein 2.0. Never had it before.
Zach would be like,
Zach would be all over
But I'll
that.
tell you who does drink this. Hot Sauce.
Oh yeah,
Alvin Henderson.
Hot
the
Sauce
boxer.
the boxer.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hot Sauce. Shout out to Straight Right Boxing.
yes. That'll give you some fuel on your uppercut.
oh yeah.
Yes. Cade's been getting swole over there. Colby Ward just ruined this storm. Yeah, folks know about the Colby effect.
Sure did.
Hopefully that continues.
Appreciate
But,
your work, Colby.
Yeah, you're doing the Lord's work right now, Colby. And he should get a pretty good view of this storm as well. I would say as he gets a little bit closer. I think he's traveling along I-40 right now, so
Mhm.
he's heading right towards that storm.
He's in Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's in Oklahoma.
I will say I've seen this before, and you got to watch if we go back to Mega Doppler, the southern tip right here of this cell doesn't look like much, but that's where if there would be a tornado, it would be associated right here at the southern end, believe it or not, of this cell that's to the west. And I can give you a couple of examples that look like this, including the tornado that hit Rogers on October 13th, 2012. Almost a very similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that it is, but I'm just saying this would be the area that you would be watching is right here, even though it doesn't look like much.
And even though it's kind of behind that area of rain.
And even though it's behind the kind of area of rain, but that line break will lead to that potential for a tornado. That's where it would be. If it would be anywhere,
yep,
it would be associated with that right there.
Still very suspicious.
Right now. And there is definitely a CC, or not a CC drop, but a reflectivity drop.
Yep.
Right there, the line break.
Yes.
A lot of things line up.
What tide aware?
Oh boy.
Lightning. Not even lightning.
We're under a tornado watch.
We gotta have the tornado tie
until 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. Yeah.
Man, oh, you got me scared. Whoa.
I don't know what day of the week
Woo,
it is.
that's what I was just saying to Peyton.
Especially when there's no windows in here, like Vegas, a Vegas casino.
By the way, guys, this morning.
Yeah. Thank goodness, or else I'd go insane.
Oh my goodness. By the way, WSI was once again doing that standard time stuff again.
Was it really?
With the flash flood warnings.
What?
That's so annoying.
I brought that up.
Yeah. It's still doing that.
Ah.
It's unbelievable. Trash. Storms have nightmares about Colby Ward. That's
They
funny.
sure do.
Colby doesn't fear the storms. The storms fear Colby.
Here, I'll give you the casino sound. We'll be like Vegas. Ready?
Yeah, he's pulling this up right now.
Here we go. You know, this is something that I did for Fresh Start back in the day.
That's funny.
Yeah, you bring the radar back. Here comes the cash out. All right. Anyways,
Big money.
that's definitely the
Jackpot.
sounds.
That is.
Definitely the sounds.
All right.
From
I'll
Vegas.
see y'all at Cherokee after this.
Yo, you know what the best way to describe storm chasing is? It's like gambling.
Mhm.
It really is storm chasing sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially if you can't go out to every event.
Bye here.
What?
Dan's got something
Well,
to
you got
sleeve.
the live. You can't show that.
There.
That's being mid.
This one right here. Yeah, because this one doesn't have the copyright on there.
So storms are starting to move into LaFleur County right now. Just off to the west of LaFleur.
Yeah.
LaFleur. But it's not line normal. It doesn't
Nope.
line up
Nope.
with the bulk shear.
Because it's parallel to it.
Yep. And so that's why that storm's falling apart. These storms were rotating pretty rapidly about 30 minutes ago, but now that line is parallel to the shear, it's kind of falling apart a little bit.
I can see some peaks of sunshine. I can see some development trying to take place over northwest Arkansas, and it is quite a bit humid. So I'm still not completely sold that this thread is over.
I looked at the
Until the
temperature
line comes
spreads.
through.
Yeah, the dew points have gone up just a little bit in Fayetteville. Now, Bentonville, it's still 64 over 59.
Yeah.
But Washington County is still in that, I think, that tornado potential, maybe that low end tornado threat.
Benton County, probably not.
Yeah, I would
mention.
I would say Benton County.
Mhm.
Probably not under them.
NATO cast was wiling out, man.
Yeah, it had peaks.
It was going
Like-
nuts.
That was pretty aggressive from NATO cast. It must really like this setup
That looks. What does that look like now? Is that strengthening? Yeah.
a little bit. It's kind of cycling a little bit. It's been doing that.
Yeah.
And it'll keep doing that too. So that's why we can't let our guard down. But
So
that's-
if there would be a tornado warning issued, it will be in western Sequoia County, which will include our weather coverage area. So we might want to get ready.
Oh,
we
we're
got
already ready.
We got. I've already sent out pushes. I've already got
What about
Charles.
them? Do they know?
Charles is ready.
Charles is here.
Charles is here.
Are they in there? Charles is ready.
Charles will be ready. All right. Only area of concern that we're watching for right now. Again, not a whole lot going on. We'll go normalized rotation. Very broad in that sense. But again, just a little bit of spin in the atmosphere as of right now. It's the only concerning part along this line. And it's the only part where your shear vector is going from southwest to northeast. So if it's perpendicular, that kind of enhances that quasi-linear convective system, QLCS, word of the day there. That enhances that QLCS tornado potential. Those parts in the lines where you see that little break from the entire line. You see a little bit of drop in reflectivity. And you have that little, of course, that little drop behind it. But it's starting to maybe try to wrap around as it kind of just spinning just a little bit. If it can get a little push, get a little help, it might can maybe get its act together, maybe strengthen just a little bit. But again, this would be headed towards western Sequoia County, and I'll do a track on it as of right now. Give me just a second as we load up. Drum roll, please. 35 miles per hour. I think they actually changed it to 25 miles per hour again.
They kind of go back and forth, don't they?
Yeah. We'll split the middle at 30
Yeah, that's a good idea.
for the next hour. Eesh.
Man.
So here's the track for the next hour. Go back to the other one. So
That's the weather will do to you.
Garland at
Multiple
12:40,
rounds.
41,
It's like a boxer.
Tomahawk
You're in round
12:54,
15.
Sallisaw Creek Public Use Area, if you know where that's at, 1:05 p.m. Harrison, Oklahoma at 1:06, Sallisaw at 1:17, Brushy School at 1:29, and Brushy 31. They got some time again moving towards the northeast, pretty much at around 25 to 35 miles per hour, kind of slowing down just a little bit. But yes, this would be headed towards Sequoia County if this were to get extended. We're definitely keeping a close eye on it as it just slowly jogs in here. A lot different than yesterday when their storms were hauling, but
They were hauling. I kind of wish they were hauling. That means we
get it
out
over faster.
That means we get out here quicker. You know what, Peyton? There's a new area right there that we've got to watch.
Yeah, there's another area up top. See that?
Oh boy. Here
Cool,
we
you
go.
don't think you just hit a rabbit?
I know it's something happened there.
A
A lot of chasers have been getting impacted by animals lately.
Yeah,
Uh,
the cow.
Wait,
Yeah.
what's going on?
well, he said that Colby
Must
looked
have
like
hit
he hit
something.
something.
Yeah.
And then I'm saying a lot of chasers have been getting impacted by animals lately, like turkeys have been jumping out in front of people.
Yeah, dude hit a cow.
Coyotes.
Yeah.
I know
Turtles.
when we chased in Thetford, Nebraska before 1999, we hit a bird, like a big bird.
Oh,
Yeah, someone
man.
else hit a bird.
Somebody hit a bird, too.
on
Not the big bird from
Right.
Sesame Street,
Yeah.
but we hit a big bird, and they always fly out right in front of your car as you're driving. And we were cruising pretty quick.
Kobe's getting on
Was
in
it
there.
a burst of feathers?
Let's see where Kobe
Yes.
is at. Kobe is on his way to intercept and kill these storms.
All right.
He is on his way to Sallisaw.
We need to have like
Or
a
a 0
comment
meter.
of the day or something.
Have them call the phone.
What's the comment of the day?
Comment of the day from Becky, PDS Cow.
PDS cow.
Get that sponsored or
How
something.
about IEM cow?
I
There we go.
Cow. Yeah.
There's Kobe Ward. Let's see. I don't think I can pull weather two. from
Colby
this.
needs to use his miracle magic to fix the world's biggest problem, the McDonald's ice cream machine.
Exactly.
You know
Ice
what?
cream machine broke.
By the way, those are always working. They just say that so they don't have to clean it.
Oh yeah.
I figured it out.
I've heard the maintenance is a little bit cumbersome.
Yeah. McDonald's might
However-
want to fix that.
I want a grimace shake
Now.
now.
Now. Remember that was a meme?
Yeah.
That was a good meme. Let's see here. Is Peyton working a 24-hour shift?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, kind of.
What day is it?
I mean,
Friday?
this was like a couple of weeks ago with when Dan, Peyton, and Dan,
Dan,
Zach, and me were here
Yeah.
during Easter weekend. It was like rotating shifts.
Yeah.
2 a.m., 2 p.m., 2 a.m., 2 p.m., 2
Just
p.m.
handoffs.
Just handoffs. And then even when you weren't on your shift, you were still watching the radar because there was
Exactly.
more storms that were
Just in
moving
case something
through.
happens.
Exactly.
On
We've got
edge.
cows.
I gotta go, Julia. We got cows.
So, is there any tornado threats for Northwest Arkansas today? So, Emily, the
Very, very, very low.
it's pretty low. I would say maybe a little bit higher in Washington County, but Benton County, I think Benton County's okay.
Yeah.
I think Benton County's gonna be fine today. There's gonna be a lot of rain
You know
though.
what we should do? Let's go to Max 2. Let's get Colby Stream, and we'll get the Doppler radar so we can do kind of a 2-box
Yeah.
All right.
So you want that? You want
Yeah.
that on weather too?
on severe on Max
Oh.
2. So do you have Max 2 open?
Yeah, it's open. Hold on. Yeah, let me
Let's get the stream there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then let's go back to.
It won't have his banner.
We can get that pulled up.
Do me a favor. Do it this way. Because if we need to go on, I won't be able to control it. So if we go,
You have to be
if,
on
if, if
something.
we're in
Oh.
a data set, okay, and then we can just click on this, and then we'll just do this.
There's no
Cool,
reason,
we're-
yeah.
There you
There we
go.
go. Perfect.
So
Yeah.
now we're in the data set. Now I'm
Yeah.
able to control it more.
I changed up weather one severe a little bit more to kind of just be a little bit more tighter with the graphics because it was kind of a mess on the show.
Yeah,
So I fixed it up a little bit.
you did what?
I just
yeah.
I just fixed up these because it was like all over the place.
Yeah,
There was
it
a bunch of
was
different
because
things.
when you're doing severe weather, it's
Yeah.
gonna be all over the place. But a lot of these tracks, you're not going to save, and then you go to them the next time, and then you're not even what you want.
Exactly. So we had a 2-box right now. On the left-hand side, you can see Colby Ward's live stream. Right now, he is currently located northeast of Brent along Interstate 40.
On his way to Sallisaw.
Come on, Colby, do your magic. Yeah, that normalized rotation has dropped off a little bit. Earlier, there was some greens on it. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some damage. That was northeast of Quinton. We were talking about that, Peyton.
Yeah.
That was at least like a big RFD surge or something like that happened.
I don't doubt it. Don't
Um,
doubt it.
Just kind of a classic kind of look. But there's the line break right there. There's the cell that we're watching. Not a whole lot of lightning associated with it right now. So thank goodness this
New
is not at
tornado
night.
warning, including Sequoia County.
All right, here we go. Tornado warning, Dan.
Let's go.
Got it?
Got a tornado warning.
Yep.
Yep.
Knew that was coming.
So we're going to be transitioning to live coverage right now on TV. We're still going to be on the live stream here on Facebook and X. And Dan's getting set up right now.
All right, we got a tornado warning.
While we're waiting to get on air, let me show that tornado warning just real quick. This tornado warning is in effect for Sequoia County.
Everybody in the weather lab.
It goes till 1:30. Here we go.
Well, don't put it on yet. Do. Hi, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Dan Scoff, alongside meteorologist Peyton Langford and Josh Rugger. We're just been covering these storms throughout the morning, and now we're into the early afternoon. We do have a tornado warning. It finally does include our weather coverage area. That's why we're doing live broadcast on TV now, as a tornado warning has been issued for western Sequoia County.
Yeah, we've been covering these storms even before they reached our weather coverage area. We've seen multiple tornado warnings in southeast Oklahoma. The environment is very favorable for these types of setups here in portions of the River Valley. So that's why we're now doing live coverage, because we've got that tornado warning in Sequoia County.
And we got storm trackers out on it. Peyton Langford, you've been monitoring this storm. Let's begin, first of all, with giving the overview picture as we look at weather 1. This also has a track that's associated with it. So you've got a severe thunderstorm warning farther southwest, but we do have a tornado warning now that's in effect, as we mentioned, for extreme western Sequoia County. We'll zoom in and we'll show you some of the areas. This is the most dangerous portion of the thunderstorm that is just to the south and west of Garland School. That is moving to the northeast. So we're going to zoom in here. We'll get you that information on the tornado warning. As again, this is a storm that has ramped up its circulation a little bit more and more. This goes until 1:30. So we're at 12:45. Storm is moving at about, as we mentioned, 30 miles per hour, 25 to 30 miles per hour. So a little slower moving than what we saw earlier. Now on Mega Doppler here, we'll show you that as we look at our Weather 1 source. This will show you the circulation. I'll step in front of the wall. And we also have our storm spotter on Weather 2. This is Colby Ward. It's going to get kind of a view of this as it gets close to crossing I-40. But we've got Josh Rugger, meteorologist Peyton Langford. We're all in the weather lab. We're monitoring these storms. We're also streaming this coverage, as we have been for the last 40 minutes or so, in anticipation of these storms ramping up. Now, the conditions are favorable. There's a tornado watch until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the area of circulation just to the southwest of Tomahawk. You'll notice, too, that it just barely is starting to move into southwestern Sequoia County. So this is the area of interest. If you live in Tomahawk, go ahead and take your tornado precautions immediately. This is something that definitely we will have to be watching very, very closely, as the environment is favorable for an area of rotation to develop pretty quickly. So here's East 1120 Road. That's some of the areas, and we got County Road 45, East Tomahawk Road. Those areas you need to be taking your tornado precautions. We're zoomed way in, and we're getting very hyper-local just to let you know exactly where this tornado warning is in effect for. Again, until 1:30, so it's going on until the early afternoon hours. Now, there's the circulation starting to ramp up a little bit more, and Josh, this is something that we've been noticing as these storms have cycled. They've increased their strength and rotation, and then they decrease their strength and rotation. One thing we know, though, the environment is favorable for these tornadoes to rapidly touch down. And we're going to get a visual here as Colby Ward, as you can see him on Mega Doppler, approaching the Salisaw area as this crosses I-40. Let's go to Weather 2. We'll take a look at live storm spotter streaming video. There's the newest circulation and the newest radar scan, and we'll go through that. But this is Colby Ward as he's driving westbound on I-40. Notice it's very dark and gloomy, and a little bit tough for as far as contrast is concerned. So we're going to get one shot to see this as the storm moves over I-40. Josh, let's go ahead and we'll go back to the newest radar scan. Take us through that on Mega Doppler, and I will be looking at some additional information, some of these cameras as the storm moves into the River Valley.
Yes, so we're taking a look at that right now, and as Dan just mentioned, we were talking about how the storm has been cycling throughout the morning hours. One thing that we've noticed is that this storm is taking a very favorable track for tornado potential. It's moving in a southwest to northeast motion, which is more favorable for tornado potential this morning. Now, we've been watching other storms as well, a little bit farther south. I know we've got some folks that are watching in LaFleur County right now, maybe wondering about what's going on. Those storms are still severe warned at this time, but they don't have tornado warnings associated with them. And I think a big reason why is because they are not taking those favorable tracks in relation to the low-level instability that we have in place, as well as the bulk shear, Dan, right now. We talked about that off air, how these storms need to take that correct track in order to tap into that tornado potential. This has been the most persistent supercell all morning long. It's produced tornado warnings over the last hour and a half, and I think it will continue to do so as it moves northeast.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're noticing another area of rotation now that's beginning to ramp up. This is the way it's going to be. Any storm system that runs from northwest to southeast, you're going to see that potential for circulation. And so this could prompt, if it continues to strengthen, a new tornado warning that would be a little bit farther east into southern and southeastern Sequoia County. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look here at Weather 2. I'll show you the live storm spotter streaming video from Colby Ward And we'll bring that up here full in just a second. But there's that circulation that's ramping up. If we look at the normalized rotation, you'll see a little bit of a stronger circulation starting to develop now. And so this storm is ramping up. There's the other circulation that's showing up north of McCurtain, just northwest of Bakoshi and Kyoto. You can see that moving northeast and is going to be crossing into southern Sequoia County here shortly.
Dan, I think even a little bit farther northwest, northwest of Gore. So on the other side of this tornado warning is another one.
Go there. So all these embedded circulation, it's going to be anytime that line runs from northwest to southeast. So we've got one. We'll zoom out a little bit more. And it is important to note that all of these severe thunderstorm warnings that you see on the screen do have the tornado possible tag. There's some areas where the rotation is a little bit stronger, and then that's prompting the tornado warning. But this is an area of circulation for sure that we have to watch. But the way these rain-wrapped tornadoes typically are with QLCSs is they move through. They're typically brief, but sometimes can be a little more longer track. And Josh, you mentioned this, that the potential for longer tracked tornadoes are possible today. And it is something that we will definitely have to pay attention to. I'm going to show you here as we look at the latest information. Now, we've also got the flooding threat as a flood watch is in effect. These are all of the alerts. Look at all of the flooding that happened in Oklahoma. So we know we're about to be in for it in terms of the heavy rain. But the tornado watch does not include, if you're watching us on television, it does not include Northwest Arkansas. However, the ingredients are more favorable the farther south you go on I-49 into Crawford County, Sequoia County, LaFleur County, Sebastian, Logan, and Scott counties. There you see all those areas that are under that tornado watch until 5 o'clock. Going back to our radar, the newest radar scan, High Heating Cooling Mega Doppler, that circulation has ramped up more and more and tightening up a little bit more, and this could be producing a tornado here shortly. So something definitely watch. Remember, tornado warning goes until 1:30 in the afternoon. And another thing to note, too, we've talked about this. Look at the line break. You can see a break in this line. Let's go back in time just a little bit, Josh, and we'll see this circulation. And there it is. So what you're getting is this, what's called the rear inflow jet that's surging out that causes this line break. And this is something that you'll notice does have that potential to ramp up the tornado significance a little bit more, and the fact that it's tracking more northerly. Here's the other circulation that's showing up, even has some small hail now as it moves just into southern Sequoia County here shortly. So that shows you a stronger cell. The environment is increasing. It's getting more favorable. This is something that we will definitely have to keep an eye on.
Dan, I've got a new track, and we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning as well.
With the tornado possible too. And no surprise on that. And you can see that little funnel showing up. This just kind of gives us an idea of when these severe thunderstorms are issued. There's multiple types of severe thunderstorms. They've added what's called the impact-based warning tags back several years ago, because in social science they determined, hey, we want to know what these storms are going to bring and the threats and the hazards right away, instead of getting all through all the text of the warning. And so here we'll take a look. I don't think that's co-located with the circulation.
It's not at all.
Nope. Always good idea, though, to look at those debris signatures.
Yeah, just want to make sure. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure on that front. And Dan, I got a couple things to show. If we go back to weather 1 here, we can look at that new severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag. Just wanted to make sure folks in Sequoia County knew that they were under that at this time. Again, it's for 60-mile-per-hour winds. The hail is below severe limits. But I've also got a new storm track as well that I'm going to pull up here in just a few moments, where you're able to see where exactly that storm is moving. So just give it a few moments here to load. But again, the storm is moving off to the north and east at about 30 miles per hour. You can see that fresh storm track there on the most dangerous part of the storm. Again, now it's starting to cross over into Sequoia County at this time. So if you live in areas like McKee or in Sallisaw, you need to be keeping a close eye on this right now. Here's a look at that storm track. I just mentioned McKee. That's going to be arriving in your area at 1:12 p.m. So within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, you're going to start seeing impacts from the storm. At the very least, some pretty significant winds as that storm moves off to the north and east. A little bit farther down the line here, 1:17 p.m., we've got Pinhook Corner, 1:21 p.m., Dwight Mission, 1:26 p.m. in Marble City, 1:30 p.m. at Brushy School. I know the kiddos are in school right now, so you need to be watching that very closely there in Brushy, right around 1:30 to 1:32. Greasy at 1:44 p.m., and Cave Springs School potentially in Adair County as well at 1:47 p.m. But Dan, all these little areas of rotation that we're seeing along the line right now are starting to move northeast. And that's going to be very important to watch today, because as these storms move northeast, they get into that more favorable environment, that more favorable track. And that's why we're starting to see these areas of rotation ramp up once again. And we're keeping a close eye on that storm right now that is now crossing into Sequoyah County. So it's in southwestern Sequoyah County. Normalized rotation has dropped off just a little bit, but is Colby Ward's stream up and running? Because he is very close.
Kind of lagging right now. It is up right now. He's kind of pulling off the highway.
Yeah.
Moving into intercept. He's just within the polygon there.
And he's very close to the storm right now too, Dan. I mean, he's just south of McKee right now, so it's within about a couple of miles of him. So he would probably have a really good view of the storm. And
we're going to bring that up here full. Let's go ahead and we'll take a look here. There's that live storm spotter streaming video.
And it's lagging just a little bit. And
Speaking
a lot
of
of
lagging, it looks like something crashed on my end, so I'm working on getting that fixed.
Yeah. So Dan's doing that behind the scenes right now. Lot of stuff. This technology's been used a lot over the last several days and weeks. So just bear with us on that front.
Well, Dan, if you need anything on the weather too, just let me know.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep.
There's the new tornado possible tag with the severe thunderstorm warning. So all of these storms coming into northwest Arkansas, southern end of northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, all will have those tornado possibles with them.
It's a good idea to have that with this type of environment, as a precaution. And Dan, that rotation is starting to ramp up now once again as it moves into Sequoyah County. I'm going to go back to this mega Doppler image.
2 areas of circulation, and then Peyton's watching that one too. That's farther northwest of that.
Ooh,
And there's one even southeast of that over LaFleur in western LaFleur County.
Colby might see something very soon here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, because he's right on top of that. That is a very tight area of rotation right now, just off to the south and west of McKee. So if you're in McKee right now, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. I want to get hyper local here and show you some of those streets as well, where that storm may be moving. So we've got McKee Street right there. Let's go a little bit farther southwest. Looks like North 4520 Road. Let's look at this one too. That's another one. We just want to make sure everybody in this area
Another warning, that popped up. We'll look at that here in just a bit, but there's going to be multiple warnings coming through. Also, too, the instability is starting to increase in northwest Arkansas right ahead of this line. We were talking about that low-level instability, which is important for tornado potential. Look at this circulation that's starting to ramp up. And so I can tell this is the radar from Fort Smith, so it's the closest one to this storm. You can see how the radials are spreading out. So if we go back to the east, that's where the radar location is. And so what you're seeing here are these red and green colors. Now, if we can go ahead and you'll see that circulation now just crossing over the county line. So this is moving into Sequoyah County. Here's Colby Ward.
Lost the stream.
All right. So it's going to be a tough area. The visual, you might have to go north just a little bit more. There's very poor cell service there. I can tell you that. So we'll go off of that. We don't want to show that. But there's our storm spotter as we're tracking all that information. Let's go off of that and go to weather too, if we can. So here's a look at our radar with the fuel that's available for these storms. So you'll see the yellower shades. The yellow shades represent higher instability, which is why these storms are ramping up. So we don't want to lose the focus of all of the severe thunderstorm warnings. Look at all of them. Let's take you through them real quick. So we've got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect with tornado possibles. Let's begin, first of all, with this cell. There's a tornado possible until 1:30, and you'll notice that does include Sequoyah County, does not include Adair County at the moment, but with the translation of it moving northeast and extrapolating that out, it'll probably make it into Washington County. Severe thunderstorm warning until 1:30. There's the tornado possible as well. We work our way south. There's the tornado warning until 1:30, and that's for that small area of the line. We'll get back to that in just a second. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings. No tornado possible, though, with this cell that's in western LaFleur County, but in eastern LaFleur County, you'll see an additional severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible. There's so many warnings on the screen right now that it's just tough to keep track of them all and not have something that's basically covering up information. So
they're overlapping each other.
Yeah, you got to have that overlap. But there's a look again of the tornado possible tag and that's just up to the state line. All right, I think it looks like we got the stream back. Peyton, I know you're watching it. No, maybe not.
Don't have it up.
Okay.
Not back up.
All right, we got to get back to that circulation because this is
Mega Doppler
really
pulled up.
ramping up. Yeah, let's go to Mega Doppler on Weather 1. Yeah, look at this. I think this is about to put down a tornado.
I think so too.
Mhm.
And newest radar information is going to be shown. We're looking to see if there's any type of debris. I don't think that is a true correlation coefficient drop. The circulation would be located just north of Tomahawk, and that is about to cross I-40. And keep in mind, this is most likely going to be rain-wrapped, where you won't be able to see it. Winds are going to pick up suddenly, and wind directions, wind shifts will take place. Looks like maybe a little bit of a weaker circulation in the latest image, but I still will be watching that very closely. So, yeah, look at the other circulation too. Now that's starting to ramp up, and this could prompt a new tornado warning. If we see one getting issued, this will likely be in southern Sequoia County. And with the storms moving at about 25, 30 miles per hour, it's going to take a while to come through our weather coverage area. Tornado watch does go until 5 o'clock. Payne, what are you seeing? Anything on NWS chat at all? Are they commenting about this cell? Any type of information?
No, they're just kind of briefly mentioning some of the National Severe Storms Lab experimental products that they're working with and just talking about tornado probabilities up to 60% on the cell that we're watching.
Wow. I mean, that's an uptrend right there. Got to watch that very closely.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've also got that other cell, as Dan just mentioned, that southwest of Brent and Gans and Salisaw.
Moving through Kyoto, starting to increase maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that is definitely starting to increase. And it's because it's starting to take that, southwest to northeast track now. We just talked about that a little bit earlier. What kind of tracks would be favorable for tornado potential today? Obviously, some of these storms are starting to move off to the north and east right now. But as you just mentioned, Peyton, that one area circulation is also starting to get interesting right now, southwest of Brent. And that will be moving into Sequoia County very soon. So would not be surprised if we saw another tornado warning. At the very least, we've got a tornado possible tag on all of these severe thunderstorm warnings. So it just kind of shows you the environment that we have at play today. We have to watch these storms like a hawk because they could ramp up at any moment and drop a tornado and cause damage. And we've seen that happen in the past. And you know what, Peyton, we probably got another area of rotation that we've got to watch along this line as well.
Right, and Gore, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I see another one south of Braggs too. So some of these areas are just outside of our weather coverage area right now, but they will be moving into a more favorable environment. We have seen a little bit of destabilization today, especially in the River Valley. We've had some peaks of sunshine throughout the daytime hours, so we'll have to keep a close eye on that. But I do think we have Colby Ward that might be online right now. Colby, can you hear us right now? And what are you seeing in your area? You're very close to this area of circulation.
Yeah, I can hear you guys loud and clear. I am just off of I-40, south of McKay, Oklahoma. I'm trying to get to a street here that runs parallel to I-40, so I have options of backing off if I need to. So far, I don't see anything but some rain. The rotation is still to my southwest.
Any way you can get your stream up and running, Colby?
I will check back on that. I had issues with internet service there for a while. I was just off the interstate, but the internet just did not want to cooperate with me. So give me a second. I'll kind of keep on working on that and see if I can reboot it real quick. We're
going to keep you on the line because this circulation not only has ramped up significantly, but it's very, very close to you. It'll be just to your southwest. It'll probably pass to your west if you don't move. But this, you are going to get a front row seat of this storm as it passes just to your west. So again, we've got Colby Ward, one of our storm spotters, who's located very close to Vian. And tell me your exact location. We've got you added right there. We can zoom in. We can see your location here. So we'll zoom in on your spotter network. It looks like you're just south of I-40.
Yeah, I'm just repositioned. I am just north of I-40. I would be south of McKay, which is basically kind of the southeast of Vian. I'm going to try to get I pull off the road here a little bit. I'm going to try to get the stream up and running again if I can, if it wants to cooperate with me.
Yeah.
And we'll try that real quick.
You'll be able to do that. Maybe around there you can get better internet signal. But I know how it struggles there, including Highway 59, a very internet hole to say the least. So now that circulation is just about to go over East 105 Road and North 4540 Road. So if you live in these areas, take your tornado precautions, get to your safe place. This is a tornado warning. This is a dangerous storm. It goes until 1:30. Rotation is ramping up. You'll see those radar winds going away from the radar and then towards the radar, and it's just crossing over, as we mentioned, that Sequoia County line.
Hey, another tornado warning is coming for the Kyoto area,
Yeah.
moving into Sequoia County.
Yeah, on southern Sequoia County. We knew that circulation was ramping up too.
I'm going back to
so-
Mega Doppler here, Dan, so you can take a look at that. That is definitely starting to crank up. It's going to take a little while to load here,
Yeah.
but you can see that right there.
Oh,
north of
yeah.
Kyoto.
For sure. So what you're seeing is these winds that are going away from the radar and towards the radar, and here comes the new tornado warning that's going to be popping up. There you see it popping up on the screen pretty quickly. All right, Colby, we still got you on. That circulation just about ready to pass to your west. Tell me what you're seeing here, and let me know if you get that stream back up.
Okay, I'm restarting the computer here. I'm facing directly towards the area of rotation, where I am actually to the northeast of it currently. Let's see here. Lightning has increased a little bit, but so far we're just having some light to moderate rain. I have very little wind right now.
Any type of visibility at all, or is it just a solid sheet of rain and totally rain wrapped, which is typical of these QLCS
Yeah, I can see maybe a
tornadoes?
quarter mile to a half mile down the road. That's about it.
All right. Well, this would be about 3 or 4 miles to your west, just barely. So no correlation coefficient drop, meaning we're not seeing debris. Boy, that circulation is cranking up even more now.
It is.
Let's go to the normalized rotation. There it is. It's just, and here you see the Sequoia County line right along, basically close to the Arkansas River. We zoom out a little bit more. Yeah, now that circulation is just due west of you. Due west of you. Then there's the new tornado warning, as we mentioned. Let's talk about some of the areas that are included in this warning. We've got Brent, we got Gans, Collington, Aikens, Roland. This does not include Fort Smith or Van Buren. So if you have Weather Call Next Gen and you're going, where's the tornado warning for Fort Smith, Van Buren? It's not issued yet. That could change. But right now, that path of the storm will be taking it to the northeast, to the northwest of Fort Smith. So multiple tornado warnings. The circulation that is the strongest is where Colby Ward is located. Colby, this is coming very, very close to you here, just a little west. We'll see if that stream gets loaded or not.
Very challenging area to chase in.
Lot
of trees.
as always.
As always, a lot of trees. And as you mentioned, Dan, this is one of those storms that if there is a tornado, that tornado more than likely will be rain wrapped. It's going to be very hard to see. And it will drop really quickly as well in this type of environment. And as I mentioned earlier, this is kind of a unique environment for this type of setup as well. I think there is that potential for some of these tornadoes, if they do occur, to be long track. So we'll have to watch this very closely southwest of McKee right now. But Colby is still in position. Hopefully we can get that stream back up and running. I'm looking at normalized rotation. You can see that area of rotation just off to the west of Colby's position. Looks like Colby is trying to get north of Interstate 40 right now. This storm spotter position that you see on screen right now is old. Dandy, Colby, are you seeing something right now? We can hear you in the background.
Hello?
Just talking to Channel 6 here from Tulsa.
Okay. So Colby's talking to some other storm spotters out there right now. But again, that is a very strong area of rotation, and that could drop a tornado at any time. So if you're in McKee, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. You need to be going to the lowest floor in the most interior room of your house. If you have a basement, go there. But you want to make sure there's 4 walls around you. You want to make sure you're away from windows. And just stay in shelter right now because this storm is moving towards McKee at this time. It is very strong in terms of that rotation. It's moving off to the north and east at about 30 miles per hour, and we're watching it very closely. This tornado warning will stay in effect for another 20 minutes or so. So this is in effect until about 1:30 p.m. So we're going to be under the gun on this storm for quite a while. I also want to talk very briefly about this tornado warning that is also in effect for Sequoia County. This is just southwest of Brent. You can see the rotation a little bit more broad with this particular storm. It's just now starting to get its act together. But as you can see over the last few scans, it's taking more of that northeast track. So this is going to be moving towards the Brent, Gans, Muldrow area. Looks like Sallisaw is going to be just off to the north if this takes that path. But you still need to be keeping an eye on this in Sallisaw right now as that storm tracks off to the north and east. If we take a look at that normalized rotation real quick, not seeing a whole lot there. At least in the last few scans, but it is trying to get its act together, and you're starting to see some of that weak rotation there southwest of Brent. Going back up on this storm near McKee, this is the latest radar scan as well. You can see that line break right there. That's what we typically look for with these types of setups. That's why this storm is prompting that tornado potential and still rotating quite a bit there on radar. Peyton, you're keeping a close eye on NWS chat right now. Have you been seeing any updates on either of these storms?
Nothing very new other than, that rotation, that tornado warning northeast of Keota. Nothing really new. I'm keeping an eye, checking Sequoia County Emergency Management for any reports of damage. Don't see anything reported with the sheriff's office out of Sequoia County or Emergency Management, but we'll keep you updated if I see anything.
Looks to be weakening just a little bit there on that latest scan.
On that latest scan, it does. Colby Ward, we're still got you on the line. Now that circulation is almost about 3 miles due west of you. If you're still on the line, let us know what you're seeing here and give us an update from the field.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm looking directly to the west, just north of I-40, still to the southeast of Ian, southwest of McKay. And so far, I've got some just an increase in rain. I've got no wind yet. I'm going to have to move a little further to the west, I believe, if I'm going to have a chance of seeing anything. But there's a little bit of traffic out here all of a sudden. I guess some other chasers and spotters out here, or just some people driving back and forth on this highway.
Yeah,
you just updated. A little bit closer.
You just updated on your Storm Spotter network location. So maybe you've got internet again. Maybe you can get that stream back working.
We sure do.
I've got it on, so
Okay.
hopefully it's
all right.
Hopefully it's running.
All right, let's bring it up here real quick. So while we're talking to you, we'll see what kind of view you got. And this is the type of stuff that you encounter. Let's go to weather 2 if we can. This is a live Storm Spotter streaming video. You can't see anything with these. It's just they're typically rain wrapped. They'll come up really quick. Next thing you know, you've already got some pretty sudden winds. That's exactly what people experienced on the Easter Sunday tornado on the west side of Fayetteville, where people didn't even know it was really a tornado until it already came through. So that's how fast these can develop. But quite a light show there in front of you, not from the thunderstorm either.
Christmas tree.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot of lights. But anyways, and is that a police officer? Is that a storm spotter?
That was like a spotter.
that might be a spotter right there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right.
You know my opinion on that.
So anyways, didn't think you could have red and green. But anyways, here's a look at that weather video that's live from Colby Ward. He's driving west. I mean, there is some validity to having those hazard lights and having those lights because you want to increase your visibility, which is typically really bad in the middle of a storm as you're tracking these cells. Can kind of see a little bit of the base now. We're getting a little bit of a view of the base. Are you seeing that as well? Starting to see just a little bit of contrast on the leading edge of that, Colby, on your screen.
Yes, I absolutely see the base. I'm under the base right here.
Yeah.
It's just ahead of me. I've got a little bit of wrapping rain curtains and a little bit of rotation just above me. But I mean, it doesn't look like it's imminent or anything, but there is definitely some rotation right above me.
Yeah, we can kind of see that as well. So let's go back to the radar here and we'll take a look on weather 1. We've got those 2 areas of circulation. There's the rotation that Colby Ward was looking at with the base of the thunderstorm moving overhead. We also have that new tornado warning now just beginning to push into southern Sequoia County. Storms that are strong enough rotation to prompt tornado warnings. These are radar indicated tornadoes, meaning that there's radar representing the rotation in this thunderstorm. But not confirmed, not observed either. So there's a difference between that. But that doesn't mean that these could quickly touch down as the environment is favorable. And we do have that tornado watch that's going until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
New warning now as well.
We got a new warning.
Yeah,
coming
that
out?
includes a good chunk of Sequoia County and most of LaFleur County as well.
All right. So we'll take a look here at when that information pops up. Let's zoom out a little bit more on Mega Doppler and let's look at additional areas. So just really, really tough to chase, but these cells right here are the ones that are the most concerning. And then there's another area of rotation that's beginning to develop. And if we were to track that out over time, that is going to make it into basically southwestern Washington County. Are the ingredients available for tornadoes in northwest Arkansas? They're starting to increase, but we didn't have them earlier because of the cloud cover and the rain. And maybe all the cloud cover we saw today will kind of be our saving grace, and these storms just won't have enough gas, enough juice to produce those tornadoes. Look at this, down to the southwest of Poto.
Yeah, I was just going to say that near Worcester.
That's going to be something to watch, which, by the way, we're working on getting a weather camera in this location. So stay tuned for future advancements on that. But Wolf Mountain, if you're doing some golfing, be aware this storm system is coming into the Wolf Mountain Golf Course. That's just to the north of Worcester as that tracks across the higher terrain of the Ouachitas. And that's an area of rotation that's showing up as well. These cells don't look like much on reflectivity, but then you look at the velocity and there's enough spin in the atmosphere to produce that potential for tornadoes. So Colby Ward stream now, you can see there's a different story right there. You got you're shrouded in rain and you're not going to see anything anymore. Now I know he's drifting west to try to catch this as it crosses I-40, and I think doesn't look like you're on the interstate though, Colby. Are you? Are you on I-40?
No, I'm just off the interstate.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm not even a quarter mile off the interstate, so I'm just right off of it, trying to get a little bit better view of the storm as it passes right to my west.
Yeah. Looks like circulation still lagging back a little bit. There's a new area of circulation that's north of you, but to the west of you, still west of I-40, just about ready to cross I-40.
Tightened up.
It did tighten up, and it ramped up over the last few images. This could be starting to cycle again. Something to watch. No correlation coefficient drop, no debris signature with that. But another circulation that's south of Brent. This isn't quite as organized, but we start seeing those brighter reds showing up. That's inflow into the storm, kind of a sign that it's starting to suck a little more air in, which is a sign that the circulation is increasing. All right, Peyton, so kind of take us through maybe some of our weather cameras. We could do that on Weather 3. There's really not much to see. We've got that Kisser camera. We'll take a look at this here on Weather 2. And, tell us what we're seeing here, Peyton.
A whole lot of rain, and that's the unfortunate part with this line is, as you mentioned, rain wrapped. Everything will be rain wrapped. Colby Ward will be our best guess at anything crossing the road here. But
let's go to Weather 2 if we can, just to show that Kisser camera.
Yeah, that's looking off towards the west-southwest, or maybe south-southwest. And again, can't see a whole lot because everything is shrouded in rain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough to see for sure, and the visibility is going to be very low, and the contrast of these cells rolling in is going to be low, and right now we don't have any visuals other than Colby Ward stream. So Colby, we still got you on. We'll leave this on because maybe a little bit of a brightening on the right hand side of your stream. Is that looks like some sunshine starting to try to peek out at all?
No sunshine here. I've just got a little bit of contrast here. It's really bright to my east and very dark with the lowering to my west.
Okay, and that's the camera showing that. I just didn't know. Sometimes you can get a clear slot on the backside of a storm that can brighten it up just a little bit. So, not seeing anything at the moment touching down, but circulation still is in effect. The reason we are on the air is we do have a tornado warning, life-threatening situation for southern Sequoia County. Also another cell that's for southeastern Sequoia County. So all of those areas of rotation going to be something that we have to watch. All right. There's the area of rotation. Let's do a storm track on that, Josh, as we take you through that those two circulations.
Yes. So this is moving off to the north and east at 30 miles per hour. I'll make another storm track on that southern storm as well while we're on this. But if you live in Pinhook Corner, this storm is going to be arriving in your area within the next 10 minutes or so. Dwight Mission at 1:33 p.m. 1:35 p.m. at Sallisaw State Recreation Area. There might be some folks that are outdoors or maybe camping or watching this very closely. You need to be taking shelter right now if you haven't already, because there's probably some rain where you are at this time. 1:38 p.m. in Marble City, 1:43 p.m. in Flute Springs. A little bit farther to the north and east, Henderson School. Keep an eye on this storm that's going to be arriving within the next 20 to 30 minutes. Greasy at 1:56 p.m. and at 1:58 Cave Springs School. I'm going to jog off to the south and east here, and we're going to do another storm track on this tornado warning that's in effect for southern Sequoia County. This area of rotation is pushing through Brent as we speak. So if you're in Brent, you need to be in your tornado safe place right now. If we take this track off to the north and east at about 30 miles per hour, you can see this storm is going to be moving towards the power plant at 1:23 p.m. in the Brent area, 1:37 p.m. in Hanson, 1:38 p.m. Central High School, 1:42 p.m. in Blackjack, 1:52 p.m. at New Hope Church, a little bit farther to the north and east at 2:07 p.m. Near Short. And that is a tornado warning that is also in effect for southern Sequoia County. So 2 tornado warnings that are currently in effect right now. If we go back to Mega Doppler here, we're going to be taking a look at both areas of rotation. I would say that the stronger rotation right now is located just off to the west of McKee with this tornado warning, which remains in effect until 1:30 p.m. So we've got another 10 minutes on this particular tornado warning right now. This storm has been trying very hard over the last several minutes to produce a tornado. We've seen kind of some ebbs and flows with this rotation over the last several minutes. So if you're in McKee or in and around McKee, you definitely need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. At the very least, you might be experiencing some strong winds at this time, which can cause just as much damage as a tornado. Very similar story in Pinhook Quarter and a little bit farther north and east towards our Marble City area. These areas are also under severe thunderstorm warnings right now with tornado possible tags attached to them. But as you can see, Colby Ward is there right now. He is very close to the storm. His spotter network ID may not be updated right now just because he's in an area that's kind of difficult to chase in terms of having internet connection or being able to see the storm. But you can kind of see the base of that storm there off in the distance. It's going to be very challenging for him to keep up with the storm. But again, if you live in these areas, you need to be taking your tornado precautions very seriously. If we jog off a little bit farther south and east towards Brent right now, we're still keeping an eye on this area of rotation. I would say this one's been struggling just a little bit more. The difference between this storm and the storm to the north is that it hasn't experienced maybe that line break quite yet, which is why that storm might be taking off a little bit farther north and west. But, man, still have some very strong winds on the north side of that. It looks like those winds are really starting to intensify right now northeast of Brent at this time. So we're going to have to watch that very closely. Would not be surprised if we saw some straight line wind damage there. So if you live near Brent or if you live near Gans or U.S. Highway 64, you need to be keeping a close eye on this right now because it looks like that storm might be starting to intensify a little bit, at least in terms of those inflow winds and in terms of how strong those winds could be as the storm moves off to the north and east.
Yeah,
again,
I think farther south, Worcester trying to strengthen just a little bit, possibly. There you see it's finally starting to show up on normalized rotation. It would probably be the third area to watch. So area number 1, where Colby Ward is near McKee, and then the second area would be near Brent, and then third would be near Worcester. So kind of watching those 3 areas for right now.
And we need to keep an eye on Hayes Nelson as well, Peyton, because it looks like he might be out there storm spotting as well. I see his dot is right now just off to the west of Barling. So we'll see if he can get to those storms right now. But, Dan, I would say the most concerning storm at this time is the one that is near McKee right now. That one is taking the most favorable track. But I don't know. It seems like it's missing one ingredient right now. I don't quite know what that is, but it tries to drop a tornado, and then it kind of falls apart a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think there's a lot of rain-cooled air out ahead of it.
Yeah.
So the 0 to 3 kilometer cape, which is basically saying the surface up to 3 kilometers in the atmosphere, which is where you get the horizontal rotational on the ground, and then it gets pulled up into the vertical. That is lacking because look at all the rain that's out ahead of it. I mean, we're getting a ton of rain. In fact, you can go to Weather 2 real quick, and we'll look at our Kisser WeatherBug Network camera. That's rain that's coming down. And that's way out ahead of the storm. So I think that might be our saving grace as to opposed to a real solid line that doesn't have a lot of precipitation out ahead of it, rain-cooled air, all those things. It's like when you're boiling water on a stove. and you turn down the boiler, what happens? You turn down the burner, the water stops boiling. So I think that might be essentially what we're seeing here with these storms. Nevertheless, still a tornado warning. There's a reason that the Weather Service issues those. This goes until 1:30 in the afternoon, and we still have that tornado warning that's in effect. And so we got Colby that's still on the line. I can hear him. Colby, that circulation just to your north. If you can chime in, just let us know what you're seeing. Kind of give us another update if you can here as this warning goes.
Yeah, it's just to my northwest right now. I had to kind of back off a little bit, let it kind of pass ahead of me, and I've run into some very intense rain here. So
Yeah.
and the wind has finally picked up a little bit, so maybe 40 miles an hour right now, maybe a little stronger.
And that's probably going to be the end of your chase, honestly. We'll bring this up as we look at that Kisser camera. There's the circulation that's associated with the cell. It's just kind of a mess in terms of all the reflectivity. But my goodness, there's a lot of lift that's coming in, and now we're going to start to transition to a heavy rain and flash flooding threat, as we do have a flood watch that's in effect all the way through 7 a.m. Thursday. So any type of visual at all when this storm came through, I think maybe some mid-level rotation. It is a little lower to the ground because it's closer to the Fort Smith radar. New tornado warning just issued now, as you can see that, including Pinhook Corner, Marble City. Also just to the west, there you see the new information that's popping up on the screen. We'll take a look at the newest warning and give you the expiration time. Probably going to be until 2 o'clock. It's probably a short fuse tornado warning, and there it is on the north end of that line. So Colby Ward's on this. Got Hayes Nelson now that's starting to track storms. Maybe those ingredients will still ramp up just enough where it could put down a tornado. But at the moment, we've got radar indicated. That's the source. Here's some of the cities that are going to be impacted. Marble City, Pinhook Corner, Vian. Need to be watching that closely. Colby, we really appreciate your reports out there. I know you're not able to see much, but it does give us a little bit of, essentially confirmation and, what exactly we're seeing in terms of these cells. So we appreciate the eyes out in the field.
Yeah, no problem. I might drop back on down to I-40 because I'm just every time I leave I-40, I lose internet. So I may drop back down and kind of head back towards Sallisaw and check out that second tornado warning storm and see if it's going to do anything towards west of Muldrow right now.
Yeah, so we do have still that tornado warning that expires here until 1:30. But then the new tornado warning, I was out ahead of it. It's a smaller area. This is a small area that's included in western Sequoia County. This is in our extreme western weather coverage area. If we go out and we zoom out and we show you the big picture here, this is what we've got. So we've got a multitude of storms. We've got a lot of rain that's coming in too. But there's a look at the tornado warnings that are in effect. You've got right here, you can drop them off the phoner line. And again, that was Colby Ward. We're probably going to get a new warning here now that's being issued here as it continues to move east. So yeah, this probably includes Washington County because we can hear our weather radios that's specifically programmed for Washington County as new information comes out. Or it could be
the tornado watch.
Yeah.
So that got extended then.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Yeah, it did. Got extended north of I-40 and north of Crawford County. So we've got Washington County and Adair County under a tornado watch. That makes sense because you got this storm that's moving northeast and that eventually could make it into Washington County. Will it produce a tornado? Time will tell. But we know that there's obviously a lot of rain. There's a lot of cloud cover. All right, Josh, we're going to send it on to you in the weather lab as you're tracking storms.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing real quick, Dan. We got to watch another area of rotation right now.
I believe it. There's all areas of rotation up and down the line that are ramping up.
Yes.
And that's the reason that they extended that tornado watch. So take us through that.
Yeah, this might be the one to watch in Washington County because this is a live Doppler radar right here. You can see this area just now to the south and west of Tenkiller right now. And this is an area that's experienced quite a few tornadoes in the past. We've seen these areas of rotation pop up and produce tornadoes near Tenkiller and Rocky Mountain. So we'll have to watch this area very, very closely. I wouldn't be surprised if that continued to ramp up as it moves into a more favorable environment and maybe prompts that tornado warning potential. But we've got several tornado warnings in effect right now off to the south and east of that. The first one, as Dan's been mentioning, is still located in Sequoia County. That's been extended towards Dwight Mission and Marble City. So if you're in those areas, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. Looks like with that latest scan, maybe cycling, or it may be weakening once again. As we just mentioned, there's a lot of rain-cooled air out ahead of these storms. So this might be weakening them just a little bit, especially as they move through Sequoia County along Highway 59 right now. We got one other tornado warning that's in effect. I will say with this particular tornado warning, one thing that I'm going to be concerned about, especially near Gans and US Highway 64, is the potential for very strong winds. It looks like that storm is kind of bowing out a little bit, Dan. You can kind of see that right there. That's usually a sign that we've got some pretty intense winds. So right along Oklahoma Highway 141 and US Highway 64, we need to be watching that area very, very closely right now. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and make a storm track on this particular part of the storm. This right here looks like the most dangerous part of the storm. If we go back in time a little bit, you can kind of see that enhancement of the winds right there near Keota and Brent. So that's moving off to the north and east right now at about 30 miles per hour. We'll take that storm track, start it just off to the north and east of Brent, move that a little bit farther north and east right now. And here's some of those locations in the immediate path of this storm. So at 1:40 p.m., Central High School. I know the kiddos are in school right now. You guys need to be watching that there, watching that near Central High School right now. 1:40 p.m. in the Hanson area as well. 1:49 p.m. in Maple Chapel as well. And then at 1:55 p.m., New Hope Church, right along State Highway 64B in Oklahoma. So that's the most dangerous part of that particular storm. I'm going to take that storm track off. We're going to go back off to the north and west here and track this storm that is still located northeast of Pinhook Corner now. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag attached to it. We'll look at that in just a few moments. But here's that track for folks that are in the path of this storm. This does include Fields Chapel at 1:37 p.m., Marble City at 1:44 p.m., Flute Springs at 1:49 p.m., 1:59 p.m. in Brunch, and 2:02 p.m. in and around the Greasy area. But Dan, it looks like we got a new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag attached to it.
Not surprised. And that's going to be moving more towards, looks like Washington County, Adair County, which is why they extended that tornado watch farther north. So the fuel is starting to build in as that southerly wind increases. But I have my concerns in terms of if these storms will produce tornadoes because of the rain-cooled air. I mean, it's raining like crazy right now in the River Valley out ahead of this storm. So it's not to say that it can't happen. Let's go to Weather 2, and we'll take a look here at this line that's coming in. This is the rain from our Kisser WeatherBug Network camera and the FM tower, Dripping Springs. Speaking of dripping, the atmosphere is dripping a lot of rain. You can see that rain coming down. And there's just not a lot of visibility with this, along with all the heavy rain that's out ahead of it. I do want to show you something here. We were talking about the shear tracks with this cell. This kind of shows you the areas of rotation which prompted the tornado warnings. Now, we're not getting into the red colors, so that shows you that the rotation, it's there. It's fairly weak. If this were to put down a tornado, it would be on the weaker end at EF0, maybe low end EF1. As of now, we don't have anything that's touched down, but we just want to let you know that even though you still have a low end EF1, it can still do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. So that's why we're tracking these cells. Here you'll see that area of rotation. If we loop this, you'll be able to see the persistent rotation as it came through Stigler, prompting additional tornado warnings. And then there's that circulation on the south side of Sallisaw that prompted the additional tornado warning. So we'll
hey Dan,
stop
real
that
quick.
Yes. Go ahead,
As
Peyton.
far as what's coming next, there is a tornado warning in McCurtain County, but the track of that storm over time will eventually take it through Scott County.
Yeah. So here's the new tornado warning. Yeah. Thanks for letting us know. See, Peyton's behind the scenes. He's looking at weather cameras. He's looking at NWS chat. He's looking at information. And there's the new tornado warning that's been issued by the National Weather Service out of Springfield. Here's Scott County. Let's take a look at the radar in that location and see what we've got in terms of rainfall. And yeah, it's already starting to rain out ahead of it. But notice that there's not as much heavy rain or stratiform rain out ahead of that line. So we do have it with this line right here as it moves into northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. But yeah, that is going to be taking a track towards the eastern and southeastern side of Scott County eventually over time. And remember that Scott County is under that tornado watch until 5 o'clock. Here's a look from Waldron. We're looking off to the that's going to be to the southwest. right? Southeast.
Yeah,
It's
southeast just a little bit,
Yep.
just getting it ready for when it comes up the southeast side of
Gotcha.
Waldron.
Notice too the lack of rain, a little bit more sunshine, a little bit more instability. Those clouds are moving. They're not moving specifically super fast, unlike what we saw the last couple of days, but we're still watching this. The reason we're on, we've got 2 tornado warnings that are still in effect. Josh, let's do a new track on this as we look at a mega Doppler. Here you'll see the 2 tornado warnings, one that goes until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that is for a very, very small area in Sequoyah County. The other tornado warning only includes Sequoyah County. That rotation is getting a little more broad. As Josh mentioned, a little more of a bow echo that's starting to develop. So maybe some strong straight line winds, which, by the way, can still cause damage. So be aware of that. And that's moving to the northeast. And we'll be able to get a view of that as that comes very close to Dripping Springs and we catch that storm coming through. Let's do a track on those 2 cells to let people know, because obviously they're still seeing us on TV. We're still tracking these cells. We've got multiple tornado warnings. People probably want to know where this is headed. So let's give them your town, your timing.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and make that fresh track on the storm. Again, both of these are moving off to the north and east at about 30 miles per hour. So we're going to make 2 separate tracks here. Actually, I'm going to make 3 tracks, Dan, because I'm also concerned about that storm that's southwest of 10 Killer. So we're going to make 3 separate tracks and take you through the most dangerous part of each storm. So we'll start with the storm that is now northeast of the Brent area. We're going to move this part of the storm off to the north and east at about 30 miles per hour. So a little bit later down the road here, 1:42 p.m. in Hanson. We've been mentioning Hanson over the last several minutes. This storm is about to be on top of you, so you better be ready for some strong winds that are going to be moving right along the highway within the next few moments. We've also got 1:43 p.m. Central High School, 1:51 p.m. Maple and Maple Chapel, 1:57 p.m. near the New Hope Church, a little bit farther north and east, 2:12 p.m. near Short, 2:17 p.m. in Uniontown, and 2:24 p.m. near the Oak Ridge School District. So if you live in any of these areas, you need to be keeping a close eye on this storm. We still have a tornado warning that's in effect. So if you're within that tornado warning, if you're in Central High School, for example, or near Maple, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now because you're under a tornado warning. And even though the storm has showed maybe signs, Dan, of causing more straight line winds rather than tornado potential, it still can produce very significant damage along that line there.
I will say this, though, Josh, they canceled the tornado warning until 2 o'clock. They just see that dropped, even though the rotation's there.
Yeah.
So this could be a precursor to dropping this tornado warning. And if that does happen, as soon as those warnings are dropped, we are still going to stay on the storm on our stream. So you can join that on knwa.com. Also, you can go to Facebook, which is meteorologist Dan Scott. We got basically all of the Facebook platforms to watch our live stream, and YouTube and X. So we've got all of multiple platforms that will be streaming. But I anticipate this warning to be dropped here shortly as well, as the storm's kind of weakening a little more. But if these storms do ramp up and become tornado warned, moving into Adair County, maybe Western Washington County, we'll already still be on it on our live stream, but then we'll join in television coverage.
It says a lot about this environment, Dan, that even though there's a bunch of rain-cooled air ahead of these storms, they're still prompting tornado warnings.
I know.
I mean, that tells you that maybe this is our blessing right here. This is maybe some prayers that are being answered this afternoon, where folks are, maybe praying that these tornadoes fall apart. We're certainly praying for that as well. And I think maybe that's some answered prayers with that rain-cooled air out ahead of some of these areas of rotation, because this is a really high-end atmosphere, especially when it comes to that low-level instability.
Well, and I can tell you this too, storm anxiety, it's a real thing.
Yes.
If you've been in a storm, if you've experienced a storm, they can change your life and not only change your mental psyche as well. So that's why we're covering these storms. We'll give you peace of mind. We'll give you comfort as they move in. But we only do that when it's serious. So when the storms are really, really bad, we're on the air when they're tornado warned, or maybe even a significant severe storm. But as of now, we got tornado possibles on all these little circulations. But as you mentioned, I think there's an ingredient missing. I think it's that low level instability, and the wind shear maybe not be quite as strong either as well as these storms come in. So, hey, let's get this system out of here. Let's enjoy a beautiful weekend that's ahead. And let's start to dry out a little bit. That would be nice. This warning officially goes at until 2 o'clock or is it
Mhm.
1:45?
that goes until 1:45.
1:45. All right, 1:45. So that's about to drop off too with that circulation.
However, Dan, you mentioned these ingredients. Looking at the meso-analysis, as far as 0 to 3 kilometer mixed layer cape, 150 joules per kilogram. So that's pretty up there. That bulk shear, 35 knots. And the area of concern that we're watching is near Smithville. It's just south of LaFleur County, but that eventually will track northeast, or at least that part will track northeast into Scott County.
But you got some rain out ahead of it. Once again, you
Yep,
got these
a little
little
bit.
showers. There is a lot of lift right now, a lot of energy, which is why these showers are developing right now.
Yeah.
And these are great. We love them. We want these out ahead of this line because that's going to limit the tornado potential a little bit more.
There's so many ingredients that come together. You'll notice here as we look at the radar and thunderstorm fuel by going to weather 2. This will give you an idea on max 2. There's the fuel, and this has increased a little bit. So that's something that we'll have to watch for our eastern weather coverage area. The later we get, the warmer it is, lack of rainfall, all those ingredients we'll have to watch. I will say this too, though, that the 0 to 3 kilometer cape, that's based on a model. And the models are doing pretty trash in terms of the future radar expectations. I think the HRRR hourly had storms coming in at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Awful.
We're already at 1:30, and it's about to cross the state line. This is why timing is just very poor sometimes with the future track models, and that's why you got to look out the window. You got to see what's actually happening in order to, look at satellite, look at radar instead of looking at computer model guidance. And speaking of that, Josh, you've got that pulled up on Weather 1.
Yes.
People might be wondering, well, what's going to happen? I know there's always a concern about the future several hours down the road. And here you actually see not too bad of a job.
The graph is doing pretty good.
Yeah. So you can see that storm system moving through 3, 4, 5 o'clock. This will go all the way until the early mid-afternoon. Heavy stratiform rain behind the line. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible tag. So let's go ahead. I'm going to click on that. We're going to take a look at the latest here and bring that up with the new information. So this will probably most likely be for Washington County, I'm imagining.
No, Sebastian LaFleur.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the southern end of the line. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. It's just a very tiny little area. Let's go to weather 2 if we can. There's the new severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible, just barely including. Here's the reason behind this again. It's another weird looking polygon. This is a tough area to cover weather in the country because you've got Scott County, that's the National Weather Service out of Little Rock. You've got Sebastian County, that is for the Weather Service out of Tulsa, which also covers LaFleur County. So when they're issuing this warning, they can't do it in Scott County. The Weather Service out of Little Rock can, but that's why you see that a little bit of an odd-shaped polygon. And the storm will most likely impact southern sections for that warning, southern sections of Sebastian County. Got to know your Weather Service offices and the counties that you live in. But I'm imagining the Weather Service out of Little Rock will be issuing for Scott County. That'll probably be the next warning that's issued.
They will let that tornado warning expire.
Oh, there it is.
New severe thunderstorm.
New severe thunderstorm warning on the north side with tornado possible. You can see that flashing. And they're saying they're dropping this tornado warning.
Well, they will let it expire.
Yeah, just three more minutes.
Yeah,
total.
and then they'll continue, again, the severe thunderstorm with tornado possible.
And once that happens, as soon as that happens, we're going to end our weather coverage on television. However, we are going to stay on the stream and kind of break in and let you know on television every now and then too, unless these storms ramp up and prompt new tornado potential. But so far, we've seen a lot of radar-indicated tornadoes, not a lot of visibility, nothing real menacing visually, but circulation's still showing up on there. And Josh, I know you're looking at a new one here as we check out Mega Doppler. Maybe a little more fuel as these storms move in. I see your eyebrows raising. Let's check it out here, and we'll take us through Mega Doppler.
Yeah, and what we're looking for right now, Dan, is these line breaks right now. That's really what's going to prompt that tornado potential with this particular setup, because if you look at base reflectivity right now, which is what we're looking at here.
Is that old or is that current?
This is current. This is current.
The storm didn't even move.
It's barely moving right now.
We got to loop that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Additional cells.
But additional cells are developing, which is why that flash flooding potential is so high.
Oh, yeah.
As we mentioned, especially in the river valley. But I'm telling you this, Dan, with all this rain ahead of these storms, they're going to continue to struggle as they move off to the north and east. But sometimes, despite that, if you can get those line breaks, which is what's trying to occur, I think, near Marble City right now, that can prompt a brief tornado at times, and that can cause some damage really, really quickly. So this is why we're not going to drop off these storms, even though the tornado warnings are getting dropped off, because these storms can ramp up really, really quickly. They can, and even in environments that don't look very favorable. And at the very least, Dan, this storm that's near Salisaw now is producing very strong winds. You can still see that Boeing right there on velocity. That is some pretty intense winds.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of straight line wind damage out there.
Yeah.
Especially from Salisaw to Muldrow and maybe over to Roland too.
Let's look at base velocity too, instead of just storm relative. Let's check it out. So that's base velocity right there. Shows you the storms are barely moving, number one. But that's a lot of strong winds moving towards the radar. And so we're looking at about 50, 55, 60 miles per hour. Not quite at 60. You see just a little bit of a getting close to 60 miles per hour. But Colby Ward would be right in the thick of this.
We do have a stream up.
Yeah.
He's on I-40.
Okay. Let's bring that up. I'll bring that up on Weather 2. And this is live Storm Spotters streaming video here. That looks like a miserable storm chase.
That's the worst type of storm chases right there.
They're shrouded in cloud cover and rain. But, before you know it, if there is a circulation, you wouldn't see it and it's upon you. And then all of a sudden it's gone after it does damage. We saw some video evidence of that. All right, we're about to drop that tornado warning. We'll go ahead and take a look, one last look at radar, and the warning has been dropped. So it expired at 1:45. So that ends our television coverage here on KNWA, Fox 24, KXNW. But we will continue to live stream, so join the conversation. If this becomes tornado warning again, we'll quickly be on it. So keep it here with your weather authority for the latest severe weather information.
All right, we're back. Make a Doppler with the camera. Put on those fairly strong winds.
Just there and not there. There and not there. There and not there. There and not there.
It was, yeah. It's been like that over the last, I don't know, couple of days. It seems like each time it's there, then not there.
Yes.
There, then not there.
Yeah.
I mean, this morning
Flirting
alone,
with us.
Just teasing us.
we started the live stream at Peyton, about 2 hours ago, and it's
Yeah.
been doing this for the last 2 hours, even outside of our weather coverage. And it just continues as it moves off to the north.
It was like this on Tuesday morning.
Yes.
too.
So now here's what we got to do. Let's say, okay,
Use the
we're
bathroom.
gonna end the stream. We're gonna drop off. Nothing's happening, and then
And then
it'll go
it'll
crazy
ramp- it'll
again,
ramp
yeah.
up.
That's what happened last night.
So-
We're like, all right, we're about to end it, and then
You're stuck with us. Yeah. We have no choice. We have no
Yeah.
choice. We have to keep everybody safe.
I do think there might have been a little bit of straight line wind damage.
Let's
In,
see what we've
Southeast of
got.
Salisaw.
Yeah, there might
Yeah.
be.
I think so.
It's definitely happening.
Just
When it
because
blows out
that,
like
that's surging
Yeah.
kind of area. There probably was a little bit of.
Let's do a little bit of a
Storms.
track on this. We can do that on Weather 1. In
Let
the
me use the
meantime, yeah, you go ahead.
Gotta drink water because of this cough.
Precipitation is coming.
Yeah.
Flash flood warning. A considerable tag has been attached to it too, might I add. It's like that
Go-
gift you sent me.
Go in the corporate commode.
The corporate commode.
You love that scud cloud? Yeah, not me. That was wild looking.
Yeah.
Hey, look, got a bunch of clowns.
There's been a little
E-
discussion on these
Either
things.
it's us being clowns,
It's some other discussion that's going on in there.
or these storms are clowning on us.
That's true.
Could
Colby
be.
affected.
Can you look at Northwest Arkansas again? Yes. So I just, here's the deal, man. This is based on a model. I think,
I think the model's out to lunch.
yeah.
I mean, you can't, when you have that much rain out ahead of your main line, you can't have 0 to 3 kilometer cape. The instability gets
There's
sapped.
just absolutely no way.
Yes, that's the first thing that gets sapped is your low level instability, as a matter of fact.
Oh, we do have something that we want to show you. Now hold on to your BUTTSs. All right. I don't know if it's going to work. Oh my gosh. Look at that. You see what that is?
Yes.
Shout out to Jeff Gravitt, the superintendent, Daniel Rice. Appreciate you. The IT guy, we got Gravitt back online.
The legends.
Look at that.
That is legendary.
Just one day late, but
But
we still got it back online.
we've got and look at that view. It's an amazing view.
Yeah.
It's flat. There's barely
Oh,
any
it
trees.
is. It's a great view.
It's great. So this is going to be clutch for us.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. I've already talked to Wolf Mountain, and the camera is coming. And boy, it's going to be an awesome view.
We're going to be in great shape. My goodness.
Yeah.
This is exploding right now.
All right. So real quick, enough talking about all that. Let's check out on weather one. Here's a look at the line. I don't know if this is even holding together, honestly.
And that's great. That's fantastic because we need the rest. So we need a break from this just as much as everybody else. So here's what I'm going to do, Dan. We're going to start with this track, and then I'm just going to keep going down the line here and
Okay.
track each individual part of the storm. But this part of the line, because I know a lot of folks are worried in and around Fayetteville and in northwest Arkansas, this part of the line is moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour. This will be hitting Eldon within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. Stillwell at 2:20, Westville at 2:39, Salem Springs at 2:51, Gentry at 3:04, Decatur at 3:11, and Springdale at 3:34, which Fayetteville would be impacted right around 3:30 p.m. as well. But I'm telling you, it's already starting to rain in Fayetteville right now. So the most intense part of the storm is, I would say, Dan, about an hour behind the rain.
Yeah.
And that just shows you why that tornado potential is not being realized. That just kind of proves it. I'm also going to go to this part of the storm right here. There's that severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag attached to it. That does include Crawford, LaFleur, Sebastian, and Sequoia County. So this is a little bit more intense. There's a little bit more instability to work with. If we take this part of the line, I'm going to make sure we have the correct track here. Man, those storms are barely moving.
I know.
It's crazy. If we take that off to the north and east here, and man, I'm just going to make a two-hour track here. Fort Smith at 2:20 p.m. So within the next 15 to 20 minutes in Fort Smith, you're going to start seeing some very heavy rainfall, some strong winds. That flooding potential is really going to start ramping up as well. Alma 2:45 p.m. Mountainburg 2:54. West Fork at 3:04. Elkins at 3:26 p.m. St. Paul at 3:53 p.m. and Huntsville 4 p.m. It's still 2 hours out from Huntsville right now,
Yeah.
which is just unbelievable. But you know what, Dan? We talk about it all the time. Believe in the power of prayer. I think that's the rain cooled air.
Yeah.
That's killing these storms.
Oh, dude, what?
Wifey's calling. Let me see what's going on
You know,
there.
these
Okay.
south of Brushy, the
What?
intensifying again.
Yeah, we're watching that. Yeah, that's what I'm watching too right now. So there's a look at the rotation right there near South on Brushy that Peyton was just talking
They've
about.
mentioned it in the Slack.
That they might.
So that was I saw that they're talking about it.
Match chairs here.
Yeah.
Man, Peyton, it's like, you know what this is like?
What is
Just
this
keeping track of these storms. It's like whack-a-mole.
like?
You know, like you're playing whack-a-mole, you're trying to get the high score. You keep hitting the club down, right? You're trying to hit all the moles. And then you're like 2 or 3 hits off from the high score. You can never get to like 55. Like the high score is 55, you
Yeah,
always
like,
get to like
ah,
52, 53.
come on.
That's what it's like with these storms right now. They like ramp up, you're hitting them, you're hitting them, you're
Yep.
hitting them, you're hitting on them, and then they just pull you at the end.
Mhm.
And I think that's going to
Dude, we
keep
gotta
happening.
Watch that.
Yeah, I mean it's ramping up again, but not too impressive on normalized rotation. It's just running into all this rain-cooled air. But as we mentioned, Peyton, very strong winds associated with this for sure. Sometimes you see that with those Boeing segments.
They added Franklin County.
They added Franklin County to a severe thunderstorm warning.
No, yeah.
Okay.
And then that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, all this rain that's out ahead of it, there's different types of QLCS segments, right? You got the one that has, it's like balanced where there's
Yep.
not a whole lot of rain out in front of it. And there's also not a whole lot of rain behind it.
Mm.
Those are typically the most favorable for tornado potential
Yeah.
because they've got inflow and outflow. That's how you can get your long track tornado.
Mhm.
Then you've got the ones where it's kind of there's more rain shrouded on the western side of it. So you got that stratiform rain that can also produce high end tornado potential. And then you've got a QLCS like this where you've got rain ahead of it and rain
everywhere.
behind it. And this is the least likely to
Yeah,
produce.
and look how much rain is behind it. That is some pretty heavy rain.
Hey, what do we call that? Stratiform
Stratiform
rain,
rain.
and the models suck at that.
Yeah.
Pardon my language. They do. They suck at it.
No, they're trash. Trash garbage.
Trashville, USA.
Yeah. Trash.
Which, by the way, you look at some of those meso-analysis,
Tornado
that's
warning.
just based on the wrap.
tornado
Yep.
warning.
Yep.
All right.
I
We're going
got
back on air
tornado
again.
warning.
New tornado warning. So here we go again.
It'll ramp up and then it'll die out, but
Yep.
we'll still stay on it.
Yep. So so stand by, folks. We're gonna be on air in just a few moments.
New tornado warning that's been issued for Sequoia County, and this is that same storm that
Yeah.
Colby Ward has been tracking.
Yeah.
That has been very slow moving, 20 miles per hour to the northeast. Let's get to it. We'll show you this tornado warning that is just including eastern Sequoia County. That's it.
Yes.
Just a small area. Northeastern Sequoia County, a short fuse tornado warning that's going until it looks like 2:30 in the afternoon here. And you'll see here that we've got this moving northeast. So Lee Church, 225, Copic Slab, 229, Oak Ridge School. So we're live on television again. Here comes another storm that's ramped up tornado potential. Now, this will be getting close to southwestern Washington County here within the next 45 minutes. We'll see if it continues to prompt that tornado warning potential. But same song, different dance, if you will, for these storms.
Yeah.
So rotation ramps up, prompts that tornado warning potential, probably will start to weaken. One thing we were mentioning on the stream is the amount of rain that's out ahead of these cells. It's just a tremendous amount of rain. But the good news is we are going to get a visual on this cell as it comes into the western side of Crawford County eventually from our Dripping Springs Weatherbug Network camera. I know
Maybe there's
you're-
not too much rain.
You're looking on that. I know. Maybe we'll see a little bit of a contrast off in the distance. So we'll see how this evolves. We do have storm spotters. Colby Ward is not going to be able to track this storm anymore. It's past his location unless he gets north on 59. And when he does that, his cell service will be so poor he won't be able to stream anyways. But that's going to be the only area of concern at the moment. And a little bit of a line break, as Josh Rugger and I were talking about, meaning instead of it being just a solid line, you can almost see the rotation in the reflectivity, and then there's that circulation. It's going to be right on the southern tip of that line where that tornado potential could ramp up. One thing I will say is that we're seeing a little bit more of what we call a surge or a rear flank downdraft, an RFD, and that's in that Aikens area as it moves to the east. So Bellefonte, take your tornado precautions. This will be passing very close to the Bellefonte area as it moves northeast. Let's zoom in and get a little more hyper local, put some streets on here, let you know exactly where that circulation is. There's the newest radar information. The newest scan is showing up.
Hey, Dan, I think we have a good amount of probably what might be straight line wind damage near Muldrow and Roland. I think there was a good amount with that when that pushed through.
Okay.
There's seemed to be quite a fairly decent correlation coefficient drop, but it does not, seem indicative.
Now, do we have
Tornado.
reports of damage at all?
I do not
associated with
see
that?
any as of right now. It might
Okay.
take a while before they start coming in.
All right. And you're looking at that on radar scope. So
Yes.
let's check that out. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's look at the radar reflectivity. Before we do that, there you see those streets that are on there. So, and you were talking about rolling.
Yeah, so just south of that tornado warning, you go
Okay.
to correlation coefficient. And you can.
Sometimes that could be dust getting kicked up
Yeah.
too on the leading edge of the line. And so look
It
at
probably
that right
is.
there. Yeah.
You said near the Roland area, right?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and advance that, and you'll see that popping up.
Huh.
You know, it could be those bats again, man.
Yeah, they get kicked up. They don't like that wind either.
No, they don't.
Yes.
No, exactly. Let's go to, if we can, the reflectivity and look at. Is there? Yeah. So sometimes, here's the thing. Like, it's probably a bunch of. It's going to be tough to see if it's biological or not. Let's look at the correlation coefficient. There's the that's the spectrum width right there. So some of the radar products that are out there. This is not a debris signature. Go to PTDS.
It is biological. I think that's what it be.
Yeah.
I think it's biological. If you go to the hydrometeor classification,
Yep.
it might show biological. It's down there at the bottom, right there. There you go.
Yep.
The
So
bottom,
we'll look
Josh.
at this. We'll look at the hydrometeor classification. Go back a little bit in time.
It's got a good amount of that orange, probably biological.
Yeah. So you're looking at this. This is a tough product to discern. We're not going to do that on the
Yeah.
but just to let you know, there's a weird stuff going on there, and radar is detecting what probably either a flock of birds or bats that are leaving caves. So there's the circulation associated with that tornado warning. So it is ramping up a little bit more. If we start seeing brighter reds showing up, that'll show that circulation increasing in strength. But here we are at 2:00 in the afternoon. And if there's one thing the models did do well, it's the timing of this line coming through. I will give credit where credit's due. They did do a good job yesterday showing that storms would come through at about 2:00 in the afternoon. But currently the hourly radar is not very good.
One important thing to mention real quick, Dan, is that these storms have slowed down tremendously. This particular storm is moving off to the north and east at 20 miles per hour. Earlier, they were moving around 30 to 35 miles per hour. So as we move throughout the rest of the afternoon hours and that rain continues to fall, the flooding potential is really going to start ramping up, not only for the river valley, but also for northwest Arkansas. So it is very important that you take those proper precautions when it comes to flooding. If you live in a flood-prone area, you might want to have kind of a backup plan in place, know where to go, know where you need to evacuate if you need to go to higher ground. I do believe, Dan, that the flooding risk is really going to start panning out as we move throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening hours. But in terms of any other circulations, I've been keeping an eye on this. There's one little storm of interest as well that's near the 10 killer area that I'm keeping a close eye on. It's been trying here and there to prompt tornado potential, but it really is struggling with all that rain that's out ahead of it. But these are really the only two areas of interest that I've noticed right now that's moving into northwest Arkansas, at least.
We were just talking about that. Watch this fill in here with that severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible. So that's about to show you as it pops up on the screen. That was the newest warning information that's showing up, and that does include southern Adair County. Right there. That's exactly what you were mentioning.
Boom.
And there's a weather service saying severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. There's the tornado warning a little bit farther south. See how there's a little more brighter reds, brighter greens that are right next to each other? This is a little bit of a weaker circulation, but still prompting that tornado possible tag with the severe thunderstorm warning. And remember, that means that there could be a tornado sometimes without even getting the warning on that. So the environment is there where these storms can rapidly spin up, touch down, and we're about to see this line moving into the northwest Arkansas and River Valley area. River Valley is going to be a little bit earlier. Let's take a look at some cameras here. This is going to be from the public library in Fort Smith. So once again, this looks like a cloudy, rainy day, but we know that a stronger line of storms will be moving in. Let's go ahead and we'll go to Weather 2. We'll take a little camera tour here in just a bit. So there's a Fort Smith Public Library. You can kind of see that base off in the distance, a little bit, maybe of a shelf cloud rolling in. That's going to be the leading edge of the line. We'll look at that Kisser camera. Again, this is looking northwest. We actually want to spin the camera around and point it to the southwest. So Peyton will do that from behind the scenes here.
That was looking straight west. Now we're looking southwest.
Okay. Yeah, we want to look a little southwest. So you can see the clouds moving along. There's that little bit of a base of the thunderstorm off. The contrast is just terrible, though, with these cells, which, by the way, is important to know because these tornadoes could come up on you pretty suddenly without seeing them. So be aware of that. Oh, now that's a good shot of the shelf cloud. Let's go to that. Yeah, I'm bringing that one up here. This is Miss Laura's historic site. And there you get to see the leading edge of the shelf. One thing to note is this is pretty elevated. This is pretty high up above the ground. There's the winds that are coming into the Fort Smith area. Don't see any rotation along the leading edge of that line. But, yeah, so that's another view here. That's Highway 64 bridge. There's the Arkansas River, which, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if that increases in level here in terms of its gauge height. With all of this rain that we've seen and with this heavy rain that's coming in. So be ready for visibility to drop pretty suddenly, pretty swiftly in the river valley. And we also have that weather camera. Let's take a look here if we can. Located in the Fayetteville area. Let's see what we're seeing with the Fayetteville region. So we'll look at Mount Sequoia looking off to the west. Just a cloudy, gloomy day. Yeah, you just can't see anything.
This is just the most challenging type of setup that you could possibly have. Not only is it a QLCS event with the line of storms, which brings its own set of challenges, but there's also rain out ahead of the area of interest. So the contrast is just horrible with those cameras right now. But again, that rain that's out ahead of it, that might weaken things a little bit. But man, this storm sure is trying.
Yeah,
it sure is trying.
That's got that hook, doesn't it?
This has been the most persistent cell all day. This has been rotating ever since it was in Stigler, way outside of our weather coverage area.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we have to keep an eye on it.
Don't forget, Peyton, to roll on some of those cameras when we can't be looking at them at all times. So.
Some of them are rolling.
Yeah. Strong circulation still showing up. The radar located in Fort Smith. That's the closest area to this circulation. You always want to get as low as you can with a radar beam because obviously, you want to know what's happening near or at the ground. And there's that rotation just northwest of Bellefonte. So this is a look at, so we're looking at some different circulations here. But that's something that we'll have to watch. Go to the normalized rotation.
A little tighter.
If we start to see those red shades, the inflow that begins to increase, that's going to really cause a concern of this storm might be capable of producing a tornado here suddenly. But tornado warning does go until 2:30. That's why we're on the TV again, as a very small section of northeastern Sequoia counties included. That's what we're looking at. We'll zoom in here a little bit more and give you hyper-focused areas. So there's Nycut, and you can see Reeder Ford. So these are all rural areas. How about East 0993 Road? If you live in Cherokee Nation Road, take your tornado precautions. And what we mean by this is get as low as you possibly can, downstairs, under something, center of the house, keep away from windows. This is a tornado warning that is radar indicated, as they all have been this afternoon. But there's that acronym for tornado safety. And just to show you here a little bit closer, this is what you want to do if you're in the path of that storm. If you're in Nycut, downstairs, under something, center of the house, keep away from windows. That's the best thing to do. Get as low as you possibly can. Cover yourself with blankets, a mattress, pillows, a helmet. If you have a helmet, wear something. Get underneath that helmet to protect your head from debris that flies around in the tornado. Center of your building, center of the house. Put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. And don't forget to keep away from windows.
Yeah,
Still
such
that
an important
circulation
point.
still showing up.
Yep.
It's just enough to prompt tornado warning status, not enough to put down a tornado, though. It's all radar indicated. And hopefully it stays that way.
Still looking good there.
Always got to look at the individual radar scans too. But
Yep.
the reflectivity does look very ominous and very suspicious. Now we're starting to see that brightening up of the reds. So this circulation is tightening up a little more with the latest radar scan. Still there.
Still there. It is. I mean, it is unbelievable how persistent some of these storms have been, despite all the rain-cooled air around it. I mean, it just shows you that Man, we got a lot of lift. We got a lot of energy moving through the area. A highly dynamic storm system, obviously, because we've had multiple rounds of showers and storms over the last several days. And this is why you can never let your guard down.
And yet it still has the potential to spin enough to produce a tornado.
It's crazy.
That's pretty wild. If we were sunny and we were a lot warmer and we didn't have a lot of rain out ahead of it, we'd probably be having tornadoes touching down. Looks like a little bit of a shelf cloud on that Kisser camera, Peyton.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not as much contrast as we saw in Fort Smith outside Miss Laura's historic site.
No.
But, yeah, I do definitely think we start to see that shelf cloud rolling in just a little bit.
So you can kind of see in the lower levels these clouds that are moving along. So that's some cloud fragments. That shows that low-level wind shear. That's what's responsible for causing these storms to rotate. Also, you can see the rain coming in from the southwest. So it looks like those low-level winds have increased just a little bit more as that potential continues to ramp up. But gosh, just not the best contrast by any means. Hearing some rumbles of thunder now over the Fayetteville area.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
So that makes sense. There's Mount Sequoia. That's not worth seeing. Go to Fort Smith. There's the shelf cloud rolling in. That's some really heavy rain. You're seeing currently the rain out ahead of the storm. This is that leading edge of the shelf cloud. Remember, that comes overhead, then you get the wind, then you get the rain. So that's kind of the way that works. You're still watching that circulation that we have in northeastern Sequoia County. Still tornado warned until 2:30. We'll stay on this storm until the warning drops off. But we'll take a look back at that circulation with the newest radar information, the newest scan. We'll be getting that here very, very shortly, just to the north of Bellefonte. And you already plotted some roads on that.
Yep. And I also have a new storm track as well. If we want to take a look at
Let's
that.
tell people where this is headed. We'll bring you up full and you can kind of take us through some of these cells.
Yeah, so that's going to be on Weather 1 here. So if we go to that real quick, we can take a look at that track. Again, this storm is just off to the north of Bellefonte right now, moving off to the north and east at 20 miles per hour. So moving very slowly, and that's why we've got a pretty large track here. So this storm is going to be approaching Copic Slab within the next 15 minutes or so. So if you're in and around that area, make sure you are taking your tornado precautions. I believe you're still in that tornado warning, so you should be doing that anyway. A little bit farther down the road, Oak Ridge School, 2:45 p.m. Again, a lot of the kiddos are still in school right now, so we'll make sure they're taking their tornado precautions as well. They're at Oak Ridge School. 3:05 p.m., New Center Point Church. 3:06 p.m. in Odell. 3:20 p.m. near Morrow. 3:28 p.m. In the Clyde area. 3:36 p.m. in Blackburn. And at 3:38 p.m., Big Spring Church. That's on the far northeast portion of this track. So that's about an hour down the road here. So the reason why I have this track so long right now is because this storm has been so persistent with the rotation. So more than likely, it will at least have some strong winds as it moves into portions of Washington County a little bit later on down the line. It is moving through a very rural area right now of northeastern Sequoia County. But if we zoom in here, you can see that area of rotation again, just off to the east of Brushy, west of Bellefonte right now, and right along Highway 59. So we're going to be watching that storm very closely as it continues to track off to the north and east. Other areas that need to be keeping an eye on this, just in case there's some deviant motion, because sometimes that can happen with these storms. Natural Dam, keep a close eye on that. Devil's Den State Park as well, along State Highway 74, Odell, as I just mentioned, and the Strickler area in southwestern Washington County. That's really the track that it's taking right now, and probably move towards those locations if it continues to maintain its strength. But here's the good news, and we're going to go back here to Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler. We've actually seen that rotation kind of weaken just a little bit, and what you're also going to see is some of those storm tracks as well that pop up on our radar product, Dan, which is very useful.
Yeah, so it gives you an idea of that circulation. This is what we call the skit of the radar, and that shows that area of rotation is lifting a little more northerly, but that over time is where it's expected to go. Now, this storm's moving pretty slow. Might be moving a little bit more to the northeast. There you can kind of see a better idea of that cell track. But we'll go ahead and we'll remove that. But yeah, this is a slow-moving storm. I guess if there's one takeaway on this is that you have time, if you live in southwestern sections of Washington County, if this does get warned it'll be about an hour from now. We'll see if
Yeah.
it does, but
It's been persistent.
yeah, it sure has. Just to show that persistence too,
Yeah.
we can look at what's called shear tracks. This will give you an idea of how long lived this persistent rotation has been. Yeah, there's another example of that. You can see those blue shades. We can also go to weather 2 if we can, and we'll take a look here at the shear tracks on max 2. So we can do that max 2, bring that up if we can. Here's a look at those areas of rotation that are showing up. So this was our earlier at 12:29. So shortly after we hit the noon hour, and you see that circulation moving northeast, prompting new tornado warnings. And then you see that circulation becoming a little more broad, but still strengthening a little bit more and more. So, when you look at and you see this and you got really strong tornadoes, you typically get into the darker reds and even the whites. Those are the circulations that really cause, some significant damage, but you can still get some localized minor damage with these cells. All right, maybe a little bit of a base on the thunderstorm. Anytime you see anything on the camera, Peyton, go ahead and chime in. But look at this as we go to weather.
Yeah, I think it's just the shelf cloud starting to push in.
Yeah.
So this is looking straight south, or pretty much due straight south. On the left side of the screen would be the sunshine-ish, and then on the right side would be where the heavy rain is starting to come down.
Look
You
at
see
how
those
fast those
raindrops
clouds are
moving from the
moving.
top right to the bottom left. So
Even though the
Those are
storm's
really-
not moving quick, the clouds are still moving pretty fast. It's kind of like when you see a train off in the distance. It doesn't look like it's moving very quickly until it gets on you, and then all of a sudden it zips by. That's almost the exact way that this appears. So this is a little bit of a lowering right in here. That's something that we'll watch. And that would be where the leading edge of the storm is. So definitely a lowered cloud base there as that storm comes through.
It's crazy how fast that looks there, Dan,
I
visually.
know.
And then you look on radar and it's like barely moving. It's crazy.
It is.
So much energy.
Are we recording on that?
we are.
Okay, good deal. So this is one of our newer cameras, and this has an amazing view of the river valleys. I can think of all the storms that we would want to be able to spot back in past history, but look at that lowered cloud base that's coming in. And so we want to look at the reflectivity too on weather 1, but we'll still continue to monitor that. I've got eyes on that shelf cloud that's coming in. Don't see any visible rotation with it. It's just all moving in one direction. But where is that So let's go ahead and we'll take a look here and go to the reflectivity. Let's look at the reflectivity and the velocity. How about both at the same time? So this is a great product where we can look at and kind of dive into the way that the storm is moving and also the way that the rain within the storm is moving. So looks like that track is a little bit more to the north.
Yeah, I've noticed
Still
that too.
right within the warning. Now, let's zoom out a little more because I want to see where that WeatherBug network camera is in association with it. So the Kisser FM tower is located right here. So we're looking at the leading edge of this line. So it's not even the tornado warned part of a storm. It's basically the leading edge of that line that's coming through. And now we're starting to lose that visibility as that heavy rain comes in. Also a little bit of small hail too. And I think we might even be able to see some of that small hail. Yeah, go to the Kisser camera on weather 2. Oh, it's right there too. You could bring up that WeatherBug location on Mega Doppler. You can see some of that small hail that's coming down.
There it is right there. It's right on top of the camera.
Yeah, let's go to Max 1, go to weather 1, and you'll see that on Mega Doppler. And
Small hail.
there it is.
Right on top of it.
Dripping springs. That gives you an idea where that camera is.
Very small hail with these storms. And we kind of knew that going in, that these storms would probably not have the most favorable environment for hail. But still some small hail getting eked out there.
Even though we've had all this rain that's out ahead of it. So just
Unbelievable.
that's kind of what happens with these linear storms, these QLCS, quasi-linear convective systems. They're teasing us just enough to prompt that tornado warning. It rotates and then it starts to weaken, but it's still strong enough where the Weather Service, they've got to be cautious on this, considering the environment. And remember, there is a tornado watch that even includes Washington County, and that goes until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's that hail core coming right over our KISS FM tower, and there's a new tornado warning that's been issued, and this is probably be for southern Adair County
And Washington
with
County.
that same cell. So, all right, so we've got more counties being issued. So the weather radios are going off now. You just heard it in the background as Peyton turned it off. And that does include Washington County. So this will be the new warning that pops up on the screen as this rotation continues to translate northeastward. Let's go to weather 2 if we can. And we've got that tornado warning on there till 3 o'clock. Does not include Fayetteville. Doesn't include Prairie Grove or Lincoln or West Fork or Winslow. But I'll tell you who it does include, Evansville and Dutch Mills. Those areas are going to be impacted by this storm as it lifts to the northeast. In fact, there you can see the Evansville area, Dutch Mills. So you know that region. Well, I know that region real well. Dobbs Mountain Road. That is quite often something can come down there. And there's been multiple tornadoes that have touched down Dobbs Mountain Road, some of the other roads too in southwestern Washington County. So that's where the warning is until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Radar indicated hail size of about, just a little less than penny or dime size. So we're looking at around ½ inch, maybe pea size, which is about 0.25 inches. So hail is not the concern. It's mainly the tornado potential. And it's right on the northern edge of that leading line. It's just been, let's just say, the little engine that couldn't. Hopefully it continues to be that way too.
Yeah, we want it to be that way for sure. I got the new tornado warning also pulled up there on Mega Doppler as well. We got that pulled up there again. Dan, it ramps up and it just keeps cycling like it's a nonstop cycle, right? And it never drops a tornado, or it hasn't done that so far, but it does ramp up quite a bit. The one thing that does happen sometimes with these storms that ramp up, and we may have seen that a little bit earlier on in this storm's life cycle, sometimes you can get that bowing out, and that can cause significant wind gusts. So it is something to watch very closely. Even if this storm doesn't eventually drop a tornado, it could have significant wind gusts that can cause damage. And as we know, straight line winds can cause just as much damage as a tornado. So that is something to be aware of if you live in some of these areas. And if we look at this tornado warning here, it's going through a very rural area of northwest Arkansas right now. If we go to weather 1 here, you can see that here on high altitude cooling Mega Doppler. As this storm moves off to the north and east, it's going to be moving just off to the north of Natural Dam, near the Lee Creek area, near Evansville as well. But you notice here, not a whole lot of roads in and around here. Now, one major road that will be impacted by this storm is Highway 59. You can see that pulled up there on Mega Doppler. So I know some folks live along Highway 59 or maybe traveling along Highway 59. We're getting closer to that time where some of the students are let out of school. So that does concern me a little bit, Dan. As this storm moves off to the north and east, it's going to be moving into a more populated area once again in southwestern Washington County towards areas such as West Fork, Greenland, maybe even Fayetteville as well within the next hour or so. And we're starting to get close to that time where people get out and about on the roadways. They're leaving from work. They're leaving from school. And not only are we seeing severe thunderstorms move through, we've also got copious amounts of rain in northwest Arkansas. So flooding is going to become a concern as well.
And everything's saturated. My wife and I, we went on a walk around the neighborhood before the storms rolled in this late morning. Everything was kind of quiet and calm, but you could hear the rushing waters, especially in the sewer drains. And so everything is filled to the brim. The cup runneth over. Yeah. And we're going to have more and more rain coming in. But there is that area of rotation, as Josh has mentioned. It's been persistent. It's ramped up just enough to prompt that tornado warning potential. There is a tornado watch that goes until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This warning will stay on, and we'll continue to keep on this storm as long as it takes until it finally weakens and drops off its tornado potential. But we knew this would be a long afternoon. We knew there would be multiple storms that could be impacted. Here's that cell. You can kind of see how it's bowing out. The tornado potential is in the extreme southeastern Adair County. It would be located right in this region. The circulation would be essentially located right here on high heating and cooling Mega Doppler. So if we zoom in, what is here? If you're listening to this on a stream, or maybe you're not viewing the television. So we'll show you here as we look at some of these rural areas. I mean, these are talking about some small roads.
Very
And
rural.
4770 road south of Davidson. If you live south of Davidson on Highway 59, just be in your tornado safe place. Get to your safe shelter. That's the best idea, just in case, because you know how fast these storms can ramp up. I know we said that multiple times, but that's just the way that these storms work in this type of environment. So, and the Weather Service doesn't issue tornado warnings, just because they can. This is a storm that could prompt tornado warning potential, but don't have any visuals. It's going to be tough to see this as it tracks to the northeast. I do want to take you through kind of a wider view, because I know we've got a lot of people watching on the stream, Josh. We got a lot of people probably commenting. What about Rogers? What about Bentonville? What about Northwest Arkansas? Well, let's go to weather too, if we can. Notice all of our spotters starting to light up as well. We'll look at that in just a bit. But here's a look at Northwest Arkansas, Southwest Missouri. Just rain. We're talking about some moderate, potentially sometimes heavy rain. The most significant storms are farther south in eastern Oklahoma and parts of Northwest Arkansas. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to take you through each one of these warnings as we look at the latest information. So we'll start off with this warning that is tornado possible. That is in southern Adair County. If we look at the information here, goes until 2:30. So another 6 minutes. Tornado possible, Adair County, Cherry Tree, Stillwell, going to be areas that are impacted. We'll slide over a little more. This is the tornado warning that goes until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Does not include most of Washington County. However, your weather radios have gone off, your apps have probably gone off, maybe sometimes even the alerts go off, and you have that for southwestern Washington County, northwestern Crawford, southeastern Adair County, and extreme northeastern Sequoia County. So 4 counties that are included in that very tiny tornado warning. Working our way south, more of the line coming through the river valley with some strong winds, and Peyton might be getting some information in terms of how strong those winds are in the river valley. You'll see that going until 2:30. That's a tornado possible with anywhere along that line. Nothing out ahead of it so far. And then we work our way south, and one more warning that's south of Scott County. This is in Polk County. Tornado possible on that from the Weather Service out of Little Rock. That's radar indicated with 60 miles per hour winds. So there's a breakdown of all of the latest warnings. Josh, you and Peyton kind of coordinating together. You got any new information?
Yeah, we're just keeping an eye on the storm right now. Peyton's keeping a close eye on NWS chat. Dude, just kind of keeping an eye on the storm, watching it like a hawk. I will say, Dan, if we go back to Weather One here, take a look at Megadoppler real quick. I would say the rotations weakened just a little bit over the last several scans, or maybe there's a handoff going on as well, because if you look over the last few scans, maybe 2 areas of rotation there.
Yeah.
But if you look at normalized rotation, you can see there's that new area right there that just now ramped up. It's unbelievable.
Let's get the Lorax in here and let it shrivel up and die. That's what
Exactly.
we're waiting for it to happen to
Man.
have this storm weaken. So we got a new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. And take a look at that, and guess what? That includes more of Crawford County and more of Washington County too. So we can bring that up if we can, and we'll do that on weather too, as that populates here real soon. So there's so many warnings out there, but there's a look at the latest warning. You can see that showing up on the screen. This goes until 3:15. Radar indicated 60 miles per hour winds, and Crawford, Washington County. So now we're getting closer to Farmington, Fayetteville. Still does not include the Farmington, Fayetteville area, but I'll tell you who it does include: Lincoln, Prairie Grove, Morrow, Winslow, also Strickler, Hawkeye, all those areas in southwest Washington County. But Odell, you are in the path of that tornado warning, and maybe that circulation's starting to ramp up a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a new area.
So let's
right
go to
now.
Weather One. This will tell you exactly what to do. Well, we have the warning information, and yeah, that is something that we have to watch.
Ooh,
And then it kind of weakens again.
yeah,
So ramps up, weakens, ramps up, weakens.
it just can't figure out what it wants to do.
It's cycling.
And it's because of all the rain cooled air out in front of it. And
I do believe so.
yeah, it's just crazy. how these storms are still able to maintain their strength despite that. But again, this storm right now, the area of interest that we're watching has kind of shifted to the north right now, right? So you kind of saw a bit of like a handoff between both areas of rotation. Originally, it was just off to the southeast of Bell here. And then now the new area of rotation is east of Bell. And this is going to be tracking over southwestern Washington County within the next 10 to 20 minutes or so. And, that sounds like a pretty long time because it is. This storm is moving very, very slowly as it moves off to the north and east. And in some cases, Dan, when it does these little meso handoffs, it moves even slower than that. So we're going to watch this very closely. If you're in Evansville, I know it looks like that area of rotation is way to the south of you, but I would still keep an eye on it in Evansville because that storm could lift off to the north and that area of rotation could be coming over you. But Peyton, you've got some new information.
New mesoscale precipitation discussion. 1 to 3 inches per hour. 3 to 6 inches
Whoa.
of rain. With all that stratiform rain, a lot of that training, could see a lot of heavy rain. Considerable flooding is possible.
That's big time right there, Peyton.
Yeah, some heavy rain.
Yeah,
Yes.
you'll be seeing those rain.
People often
curtains.
forget flooding is, the deadliest severe thunderstorm kind of impact. It's the second deadliest behind heat as far as weather. But yeah, we got to watch out for that heavy rain and flooding.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good mention right there, Peyton, especially with those precipitation outlooks because those are pretty rare to see those get issued.
Let me tell you this too, Josh. You were mentioning about the amount of lift. The storm coming in has a tremendous amount of lift. There are some cells that are starting to pop up, isolated cells.
Oh, okay.
Those would have greater tornado potential if they, in fact, do materialize. Let's go to weather 2 if we can. I brought this up here. We're looking at the wide view, and we've got some individual cells that are beginning to develop that are out ahead of the main line. Now, if that happens, it has plenty of fuel to work with. We know the moisture is there. Those areas are not currently included in any type of tornado watch. However, there's a chance that could extend that could get extended because the tornado watch does go until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Does not include Benton County, Carroll County. The farther north you go, the chances are less. But those are some individual cells that we will have to watch that could prompt greater tornado potential. We know the atmosphere is spinning. There's no doubt about that.
I'll tell you what, Dan, this is interesting, and we can pull this up on Mega Doppler here with these cells that you're talking about.
Yeah.
These cells are moving due north right now.
Yes.
Look at that. And they're already starting to get some of those appendages as well.
How does that rotation look? I'm imagining they're going up rotating. There you go.
There it is. It's right there.
Yep.
We're going to have to watch those. Those could be interesting. And those are also actually taking a pretty favorable track for tornado potential today. Straight north like that.
Yeah.
This is the type of environment where those could go off.
And
really
that
quickly.
shows you have all this energy that's moving in. So, yeah, that's going to be a cell that's north of Ozarks, already got hail associated with it. We'll have to take definitely a detailed look at that. And that's just in its beginning stages of forming, but it shows you the amount of fuel that's available for those storms. Let's get back to the newest rotation on Mega Doppler. And so there's all the fuel that's available for those storms. There's the severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. That goes, as we mentioned, until shortly after 3. Then you've got a tornado warning that goes until 3 o'clock. Such a slow-moving storm. That's why those polygons are so small. They're not spreading out over a large area. So let's take a look here, if we can, on Mega Doppler. There's the newest circulation. Evansville, Dutch Mills, you need to be in your safe place. So especially south of Evansville. Looks like maybe that circulation will be passing a little bit south of Evansville, and that is definitely the case on that. Lincoln, got that WeatherBug Network
Yeah,
camera.
we'll have a great view.
We do?
We will have a great view.
Great view of a bunch of rain again.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
It really is crazy. I mean, how much rain we're seeing and just how persistent some of these areas of rotation are. Now, this area of rotation that we're watching very closely has weakened a little bit with the latest scan, but based on what we've seen so far today, I would not be surprised if it ramped up once again. That's just how it's been so far. Danny mentioned Evansville. I'm watching that rotation a little bit closer. looks like that's almost moving northeast now. So if you're in Evansville, definitely make sure you're taking your tornado precautions. Again, there's no indication that there's a tornado on the ground right now, but that could change very quickly. It's just interesting.
Look at how rural that is, too.
Yes.
There's just so very few population there. But still, you can definitely have someone that lives there. I want to look at the reflectivity and see what these cells like. I'm just so it's just kind of weird. Let's go ahead and let's loop this real quick. I'm
Yes.
gonna zoom out, loop this, see how this evolved over time, because it looks like just multiple cells are developing. So there's a line coming through. You can see some of those individual cells. There's that tornado warning storm lifting north, and then kind of almost lifting almost straight north. So
it's
maybe
almost
those,
stationary.
maybe those low level winds now are increasing. And stationary, by the way, means a lot of rain. Oh man, we're about to get some serious rain. In fact, how about I-40? We've got Colby Ward.
Yeah.
He's tracking on that.
He's on 49 headed northbound, I believe.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what people are experiencing, which, by the way, you can get hydroplaning that happens.
Yeah.
We know about that, especially I-49 south of Fayetteville. Yeah. Let's take a look here. Let's look at some of the radar estimates in terms of rainfall. This might be something to look at. So there's one of those supercells that tracked across northeastern Scott County, southern Logan County. That's some heavy rain. And look at all this rain that fell from yesterday from those thunderstorms. So we will continue to see widespread stratiform rain, heavy rain at that. We take a look here. We do have that flood watch that's in effect, goes until 5 o'clock in the after, goes until 7 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, there's the tornado watch that's in that area of yellow. Let me go ahead and slide this over here briefly. We take a look. Looks like something's messing up on that.
Systems have been worked just as hard as us.
Mhm.
So here's a look at the, go over here. Here's the tornado watch. There's the flood warning. There's multiple flood warnings for Delaware County, as there will be. Here's the tornado watch information. It goes until, like we said, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Just everywhere. There's Washington County. And then there's that tornado warning. Still ramping up, maybe hand off. Maybe we'll weaken the tornado potential and drop that off here briefly.
Looks a little bit stronger again south of Evansville.
Does
Mega
it?
Doppler. Normalized
All right.
rotation. We go back to weather one here and we take a look at it. You'll notice there it is, the handoff. Once again, lifting almost north.
Will this actually produce, or will it just prompt tornado warnings, causing us to be on TV and on the air covering this storm and doesn't do anything? I hope it weakens and falls apart, but still there, persistent circulation. So
This is almost like it's almost like a tropical storm, Dan. There is barely any lightning, and this storm, if I look at normalized rotation, I kid you not, that almost looks like it's moving northwest.
yeah.
Almost like a tropical storm, with the tornado potential sometimes. It's very interesting, pretty uncommon to see something like that. But that's the type of environment we have right now. So if you're in Evansville, I mean, typically with a storm like this, you'd say, okay, that's well south of you, but you need to be in your tornado safe place. You need to stay there right now because this area of rotation might be lifting towards Evansville based on the latest scans. So be keeping a close eye on that. I'm actually going to zoom in just a little bit here, plot a few roads. State Highway 59, the storm is moving right along State Highway 59 right now. Hale Mountain Road, a little bit farther south and east, Dobbs Mountain Road. So we're starting to get into a more mountainous area. And then, as I just mentioned, State Highway 59, that area of rotation has been very persistent along Highway 59. We're also going to keep an eye on Ray Road as well, just in case that area of rotation pushes a little bit farther east. But if you live in Evansville, Odell, you need to be keeping a close eye on this and need to be taking your tornado precautions. Look at that.
There it is, ramping up even more now.
It's not moving.
It's just like basically corkscrewing right over.
Yes.
I want to show you this. We got to go to weather too. Give a shout out to our storm spotters in a very, very difficult storm chase. You talk about a storm spotter network. Look at that. I mean, we just got them up and down the line. You talk about protecting Northwest Arkansas. Greg Turner, James Hilger, Rex Wren, Alex Hall, Josh Myers, Brendan Lindsay, Greg Reeves, Brandon Davis, Colby Ward, all the way up and down. that is the power of a storm spotter team right there. That keeping you safe as these storms move
Yeah,
in.
and
So
I'll see if anyone's live too.
we
Anyone else is
appreciate
live.
that for very, very much in terms of all that information. This is live right here, by the way, from Colby Ward, live storm spotter streaming video. Heavy rain coming down. People notice the hazards that are on that rider moving truck. That's because the rain is so heavy. Visibility is reduced. So that can definitely cause people to put their hazards on. This is, again, a little wider view. And this isn't even really in the heart of the heaviest part of the storm. So why don't take a look at those cells, too, that are to the southeast.
Oh, they're rotating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are. Especially this one that's in eastern Franklin County, south of Huntsville. Do we have that camera pointed straight south in Huntsville? Oh, check that out.
Think so.
Let's look. Let's take a look at our Huntsville Weatherbug Network camera. So that's looking west. You can see some of that sunshine. So this would be that storm and some of the core. You can see that rain core that's out ahead of it. Look, it almost has some structure to it. That could be the base of the thunderstorm. That's looking straight south. So we're still on the air. We're still covering this storm. It's barely moving. It's still tornado warned. It goes until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Or is it 2:45? Either way, it starts.
That goes until 3.
It goes until 3, yeah.
Yes, sir.
20 minutes remaining for the warning. Devil's Den, you're about to see some lightning, some heavy rain, thunderstorm activity. And it really does look like it's falling apart at this point. But still there. Other circulations that are showing up pretty weak, though, but that's definitely the strongest one.
Watching these isolated cells, though.
One that's south of Witter. Oh, look at that one.
That's an interesting one. That one's got some hail with it, too.
If they get any easterly component with their motion, they're going to be able to rotate a little bit more.
Yeah, is that what it is? Is that what the Weather Service was talking about? The storm relativities will be a little stronger with easterly motion. Yeah. Now, as far as the QLCS is concerned, northeasterly motions are a little more favorable. But
right. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That is that cell. We can't see that. That's too far south from Huntsville. And that's going to be on, it looks like you can see Weather 3's computer right here. Or what is that? What is that camera? Probably a iDrive Arkansas. Might be the Prod PC in the middle there on that 3 panel. Okay, yeah, Prod PC. Oh, man. Well, still have that tornado warning. There's just so much you can say. I know it sounds like we're repeating ourselves, but the warning is still in progress. A tornado could touch down at any time. It hasn't yet, but it could. Storm's moving very, very slow. Circulation is very persistent, almost stationary, and tornado warning still goes until 3 o'clock. So it is our duty to cover these storms on television and streaming and YouTube, Facebook, X, you name it. Scan that QR code, too, to get the latest. We always tell you if storms are rolling in. Peyton and I doing a live stream this morning as something looked real ominous and suspicious on the northwest side of Lincoln.
Man.
We haven't even been able to determine what happened in Gravette either, if there was any type of storm damage, and the Weather Service not going to be able to survey with all this storm activity too. So
I think a new tornado warning might be coming out. Either that or they're cropping it.
Okay.
No, yeah, they're just cropping it.
Yeah, they're probably going to remove Adair County and northwestern Crawford
Yeah,
County,
that's what they did.
or at least Adair County. So we'll get that newest information here coming out. Still going to probably allow the warning to expire here in 19 minutes.
I just want to show
There you
something
go.
real quick, Dan.
Yeah.
This radar scan right here is from 2:30 p.m. So we are now at 2:42 p.m. and look at this area of rotation. I mean, that's
Not moving.
That's not moving
Nope.
at all right
Moving
now.
maybe a little more north. That's why Evansville is included in the circulation.
Yes.
Now see, and then there's the area of rotation right there. It's very broad, not very tight. That's for sure.
Keep this in mind, though. It is parallel with the
radar
radar
beam.
Fort Smith.
Yep.
Mhm.
That may be impacting our look at it.
And the beam height is what, about 3,000 feet?
A little under 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah, a little under 3,000.
I would say change radars, but same exact thing. It's just about parallel with Tulsa as well.
And there's a
Yeah.
bunch of rain too.
Yes,
And it's a
Shrouding it.
lot farther away from
exactly.
INX. So, I don't think we're going to have a lot of power outage reports. We'll probably have that in, eastern Oklahoma with these lines coming through. But these storms are just bad enough to prompt warning, but not bad enough to produce damage, at least as of now. Now, Highway 59, seems like you're in a washing machine right about now, as the rain is swirling around in different directions.
Power outage US says 336 out in Washington County. It might be delayed. I'll dive in more on that.
Yeah. Okay, so there you can see that right there, 336. Sometimes this could be a little delayed, but hopefully that still remains the case. Go back to Colby Ward here. Oh, we don't have him up here. All right, let's go back to Mega Doppler. There's a look at the area of rotation. Tornado warning, very, very small. I want to zoom out to get a perspective of this. This is the tiniest, one of the smallest tornado warnings I've ever seen. It's just one little small, tiny area. And that's because, as Josh mentioned, the storm's barely moving at all.
Yeah. Let me look at the okay, so on the tornado warning, they update these things, right? They say it's moving northeast at 35 miles per hour on the warning.
Maybe on the east side, and then the west side is moving south at 35 miles per hour.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
it's not moving.
So what does that equal, Peyton?
Zero.
Zero. Okay. So there you go.
Speaking of zero, you can see what's called the zero isodop. This is where rain is moving this way. And so what that tells you is it's not moving towards or away from the radar, which is why it's important to not be parallel to the radar beam when you're looking at these circulations. So that right there is that zero isodop. Hey, we got a little more structure on our Huntsville camera. I'm looking at that. I'm going to bring that up. This is that one cell that's to the southeast, and this is the updraft. There's the rain, and you can see maybe a little bit of a lowering that's off in the distance behind the rain. But this is not anything super strong, but it could become a thunderstorm that has better structure because the wind shear is in place today. Are every other ingredients in place? Maybe not.
It's not a perfect view, Dan, but on Weather One, I do have Tulsa's radar pulled up on live Doppler radar, just to get a look at it.
Yeah,
and you could still see that broad rotation there. It definitely was more impressive a few moments ago,
a little earlier,
but it's still there. It's still prompting that tornado potential. That's certainly what the National Weather Service is probably seeing in Tulsa. They're probably looking at that radar as well, and you can definitely see where that rotation is.
I'd like to do this. I'd like to see it from Springfield, just in case. I know that's a long ways away, but it would tell us how deep this circulation is. So
3 different scans.
Let's take a look here. We'll go to Weather 2 if we can. Bring up Weather 2. So there's the area of rotation, even several thousands of feet up in the air. Red color is moving away, green color is moving towards. There's your area of rotation. If we look at the radar from Tulsa, there it is again. Red color is moving away, outbound velocities, inbound velocities. And then we'll look at one more radar. This is from the Fort Smith area. This is a little bit lower in elevation, and the reflectivity and the velocity of it is not as, let's just say, not as textbook, not as classic, not as favorable, not as well pronounced. And that radar beam's a little bit lower. So still have to stay on this storm, and there's the circulation with it. And what does it move, like 10 feet?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
very little motion.
Very little motion.
Couple football fields, maybe.
Yeah, touchdown.
Now it's starting to get a kick off to the east, maybe a little more. Let's look at the reflectivity. Always a good idea to check that out. This is just a tiny cell.
We had that. You probably remember the date of this, Dan. And I was actually storm chasing on this day. I think it was in 2021, I want to say. But we had that one cell that moved through the Watts, Oklahoma area that was almost like a tropical system. Not very impressive on radar. Didn't have any lightning, but it did produce a brief tornado.
I know what day you're talking about, and that would be Memorial Day
Yeah.
of 2021. It was a cell that was moving northwest, and it passed through the west side of Siloam Springs and produced a brief tornado in West Siloam Springs.
I was on that storm.
That's kind of what that looked like.
Yes.
But unlike this storm, that storm was more isolated. It didn't have all the
Yes.
rain surrounding it. It was a real easily visible storm. This is just not there.
Yeah, if you're storm spotting or storm chasing, this is not the most favorable setup for
No.
that. That is for sure. And that's why I got to give a shout out to the storm spotters again, because like you mentioned, Dan and Peyton, this is one of those events, right, where it's very difficult to chase and very difficult to spot. But the fact that they're out there is very impressive, and we always need those views.
Yeah, I did see Colby just driving by. Someone who might have hydroplaned had some emergency service vehicles. So
Oh boy.
road conditions are getting a little sketchy as that heavy rain continues to pour across I-49.
Give his stream out. And there you see
Yeah.
people that are driving with their hazards on, as I mentioned before. So
It's very tough to drive in these conditions, and unfortunately, you're only going to see more traffic on the roadways because folks are just getting off of work, folks are just getting off of school, and they're running into these areas where there's been a bunch of rain over the last several hours, ponding on the roadways. I always say this in the morning when I do traffic and we have rain, go 15 to 20 miles per hour below the speed limit, or even less than that. Because if you go any faster, if you're even going at the speed limit with rain of this nature, you can easily hydroplane and get into a lot of trouble. So just make sure you're taking it nice and easy on the roads if you are leaving work or you are leaving school.
I just don't see how these storms are severe anymore. I mean, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
They just don't look like it visually. I mean, there's barely any lightning. Like, just drop the warnings already if it really truly is going to be weakening. So it just doesn't look like a very impressive line. Rain, yes, a lot of rain, no doubt about that. Some widespread rain. You can see all the rain that's coming in, which will produce the potential for significant flooding. But if we look at the velocity images, it's just even the winds are so weak right now, except you still see that circulation. I do believe that still should be prompting tornado warning status, but hopefully that drops off soon.
Yeah, with these storms, it's just like at this point, I'm just asking the storm, just weaken, just go away at this point.
Yeah.
If it's not going to do anything, just go away.
Might
Still
be
has
weak
that-
there, but pretty strong in Waldron right now.
Yeah, for some of the
Very
rain.
heavy rain.
Yeah.
Very strong winds too.
We'll look at the velocity image down to the south. Yeah, that's a bigger storm right there. You can see that. So bring up Waldron. Go ahead and make that full screen if you can, Peyton, on
Yeah.
Weather 3. Heavy
Coming
rain coming down. Look at the winds, too. Winds are whipping up that flag off in the distance, which is just to the south of the football stadium and the track. So that's a little bit more of an intense storm.
But it doesn't have a severe thunderstorm warning on it.
Nope. Probably will be coming soon, though.
Absolutely. The velocity image,
That might be it right there, as a matter of fact.
right on cue.
Right on cue.
Let's see.
It's got to be, right?
Nope. That's the cell that's coming into Madison County.
That
was the
isolated
one that
cell.
we were watching.
Yeah.
That isolated supercell.
I'll put eyes back on that too.
Yeah. That's one I think that will have a lot greater tornado potential. So this is our Madison County. This is not the cell. There's another isolated cell that's south of this. But this gives you a view from Huntsville. We're looking south at an additional cell. Let's go ahead and we'll bring up weather 2, and I could show you another tiny severe thunderstorm warning. But this has quarter-size hail and 60 miles per hour winds. Venus is going to be in the path of this storm. St. Paul Pettigrew, right along Highway 16. See, this is the cell that we're looking south from Huntsville. However, we'll get a view of this cell as it eventually passes east of the Huntsville area in central and south central Madison County. So those two cells right there, that's one that we definitely need to watch. See if it has any type of rotation with it. And again, the fuel is available for these storms to crank up. You can see underneath the radar, this is a look at the instability that's ahead. And so these storms are pretty intense. The back edge of the rain is going to be moving through. I think our rain may be over by like 5, 6, 7, maybe about 7 o'clock in the evening at the very latest.
I'd agree. I think personally, Dan, looking at the latest scans here, and Peyton, let me know if there's any updates on NWS chat on this.
Yeah, well,
But
Tornado warning is going to be dropped.
I
you
think
Yeah.
this tornado warning will be dropped. Personally,
Sure hope so.
I hope so too.
And we can get back to streaming and get people back to programming.
they will allow it to expire.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Perfect.
New severe thunderstorm warning, as we showed you, moving through Waldron. There's Scott County now. Severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30. So that was the cell that we were saying, that's going to get warned here pretty soon. And sure enough, it did. That's going to be moving into Yell County till 3:30. If we go back to our WeatherBug Network camera from Waldron, you're going to see definitely a good downpour that's happening, along with some strong gusty winds. And even some small hail that's flying around too. See some of that pea-sized hail. Well, looking at that latest scan, I think we're starting to weaken this storm a little bit, and I would not expect that warning to continue in southwestern Washington County.
Yeah, it seems like it's turning into flooding threat.
I think we
Here
can
on out.
drop off of this even before it expires because we only have a few more minutes left.
Yeah. Only have 5 more minutes.
And that looks a lot weaker. But as we mentioned, if it does happen to ramp back up,
We'll get right back on it.
We'll be right back on it. But you can join our coverage on streaming. So
Yes.
YouTube, X, Facebook, knwa.com. We got you covered any which way you need it. So,
Yes.
but for Josh, Peyton, myself, you've been watching your Weather Authority team tracking severe weather. Keep it here with your Weather Authority, and we'll keep you safe.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it. Right on cue.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
We're not going live. It's way south in Polk County. It's barely clipped Scott County. But we do have a new tornado warning that has been issued. I believe it. Just stop with the spamming, guys. Just get a life, would you? AI bots.
Yeah, get out of here.
Bots.
Leave
Put you in a ring, box you out of existence.
for charity.
Oh my goodness. What an annoying storm.
I know. It's just like it doesn't want to move. I love what Peyton said. Moving 35 miles to the hour northeast and moving 35 miles per hour to the southwest. What does that equal?
Zero. So here's the reason why we're not going on the air with this tornado warning is because it is basically in extreme southeastern Polk County, not in our weather coverage area. Scott County is included, but just barely. And the storm is still, we would be on the air for 20, 30, 40, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Before the storm even remotely comes close to our weather coverage area.
No point in that.
Forget it.
Yep.
Not happening.
Got to get back to scheduled programming.
Lincoln schools went into shelter in place. Just let them know they got the all clear.
Yep.
Nice.
Shout out Justin Bounds.
Cry babies. Just get a life.
The
It's
bots.
crazy. The bots are everywhere, dude. Look at this. What are we
Get outta
talking
here.
about? Bye. Leave.
Blocked and delete comment. You're done.
PDS bots. Becky again.
Yeah.
PDS bots.
They might be in a particularly dangerous situation.
Yeah. With
Lack of
us.
sleep, annoyed, about to unhinge.
No food.
Yeah.
No
About to
food.
crash out.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
running. Okay. So since this morning, I'll tell you my diet real quick.
You're
Nerds
done.
gummy clusters, a bunch of Reese's pretzel cups, which
Mhm.
were actually quite good.
Yeah, it's awesome. Might grab some.
Milk chocolate caramel bites, and a couple gummy bears. That's been my food today.
Couple of years. Okay.
Breakfast of champions.
How long can you talk about a storm that's not moving, that doesn't have a lot of circulation with it, but enough to prompt tornado potential? Just like
30, 45 minutes.
Would you quit?
We did it.
I know.
Yeah.
We did it.
Here's a look at the severe thunderstorm warning. I just for that. Yeah. I don't know about them apples. Now this, yes, that makes sense.
That's very intense. That is.
Ooh.
Go to Waldron's camera.
That's
Now
right.
this might be something that we got to watch in southeastern Scott County.
Can you look at the
In the
CC real quick?
east?
please?
Southeast. There won't be any CC. Now, of course, follow on the leading edge of the line.
All right. I was pretty much right southeast.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
That's ramping up pretty quick.
Cannot see anything. There's Waldron. That's looking southeast. This is ramping up. This might prompt a new tornado warning. And if this does, this would be more in our weather coverage area. But I can't wait for them to issue and stay on the air with no tornado warnings.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Supposed to be on and off, on and off.
Yeah.
Or just all on.
That does look suspicious.
New
though.
flash
That's
flood
very
warning
sus. Ooh.
for Polk, Scott County.
Yeah.
That does look interesting.
A lot more instability to work with.
Can't see anything.
in Scott County.
Can't see a thing. See, look at the difference between this, which has a TVS, and this, which
Moderate to heavy rain.
Has a
nothing. But we've seen less produce, so
yeah,
I
that's
don't wanna,
true.
I don't want to wave my finger in the face of it.
That's true.
No, Springdale, there is no more tornado warning. So if Facebook is pushing out, I don't know what this is.
I think that's a bot.
Only 20 days, 2,990. Yeah, maybe until we start to lose our severe weather risk.
Yeah, I know, right? We're gonna be here for another
Yeah.
2,900 days. Welcome, guys.
Cool. Dropped off.
So if you want to see, we've got Lincoln. Is Lincoln pointed south?
Southwest.
There's just
South, southwest.
nothing to see visually. So Lincoln, there's no more tornado warning in
Move it
northwest
southeast a little
Arkansas
bit.
at all. Nothing. Yeah.
A little bit of better contrast, looking towards the southeast now.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks suspicious though. This will probably prompt tornado potential.
Yeah.
If you're
I think
wondering
so.
where this is west of Harvey, east of Parks, east of Cedar Creek. You want to see what we see looking southeast from Waldron? Absolutely nothing. Although, is that a base? I can't tell.
It's hard with the contrast.
Who knows?
I don't think so.
I don't think
Nope.
so. It's too shrouded in rain and Waldron at this point. Yeah.
Is no more warning, but I think one's coming for Scott County. Let's get ready.
Yep. Get back on for the third time.
And they say third time's a charm, but hopefully not
Hopefully.
in this case.
Well, isn't it the research that says 3 times with the cycle?
Yeah. Typically
for
play super
tornado
cells.
potentials? Yeah.
And we got two specific areas of circulation. One here that's west of Harvey that's pretty intense.
Whoa.
And you got one that's tornado warned. Man, all these polygons can get real confusing, huh?
It's all over the place.
Nothing new in
Well, that's what happens when you have 3 offices covering your area because, one office will extend it, the other one will.
Yeah.
Waldron, just kind of what else is going on? Rain rates around 1.5 inches right now. I was looking at that earlier, but National Weather Service office out of Little Rock, Jimmy, also said a similar thing: 1.5 to 1.375 inches per hour.
Well, I wonder if
With
we're
those
going.
strong
I
winds.
wonder if we're going to get. We might. We might. Yeah. We might. In fact, this is going to be in eastern Scott County, so 17th time's the charm.
Rest assured, 17 tornadoes would be serious.
Yeah. The 17th time's the charm.
Wouldn't mind that out in the middle of Oklahoma when I'm storm chasing. Career day. How many tornadoes did you see on May 31st, 1999?
Oh, May 3rd?
I mean, May 3rd. Sorry.
20. 20 tornadoes in one day.
It's unbelievable.
That, I think, see if NWS chat's talking about this.
Oh, I'm looking at it.
That'd be Little Rock, correct?
Yep. Scott County.
It's
No
gotta
mention-
be, right?
No mention of tornado potential.
What?
However, there was a lot of mention of QLCS tornadoes earlier.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jimmy Barham. Been on top of it.
Oh, nice. All right.
Talking a lot about QLCS stuff.
Let me give you a quick overview of what's going on. So here's what we've got: rain in Northwest Arkansas. Even the severe thunderstorm warning gone.
Yep.
No tornado warnings in Northwest Arkansas anymore. Gone, done. It's over. This is the warning information. You got to keep up with it. It gets issued. It expires. It gets issued. It expires. Maybe Facebook's pushing out tornado warnings on Facebook
12 hours
17
later.
days later.
17 days later.
Speaking of 17th time, that's how late they can do it. Like 17 days later.
Seriously.
It's
Unbelievable.
They gotta fix this algorithm.
Now, here is the severe thunderstorm warning that is going to expire in 10 minutes.
I don't
Should
think so.
expire a little sooner.
I don't think they'll issue one at all.
Let's look at Lincoln here. See if there's any time. Has there been anything structure-wise that we've been able to see at all? The only thing was the shelf cloud that came over Miss Laura's historic
Yeah.
site.
That was a nice shelf cloud too, and the
Yeah.
Kisser FM camera had a good view too.
Oh, yeah, that did.
That was good recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those will be interesting to look back on. It was crazy though, because speaking of the Kisser FM camera, you're watching some of those clouds and they're just roaring through there, and then you look on radar, it's barely.
Well, that was moving. That was the line that was south of it that was moving, and the
Uh-huh.
other part was not moving.
So the northern part.
Yes, so I'll show you that as we go through. But that's from Lincoln. All right, going back to here. Whew. Here's a look at River Valley. No severe thunderstorm warnings. Madison County,
severe
no more
thunderstorm
severe thunderstorm
dropped.
warnings. It's gone. That cell completely died out. See, this is what I was talking about here, Josh. Look. So this is the tornado warned part of the storm. But when we look here, Kisser FM Tower, this is going to be moving pretty quick. See that?
Yes.
That's the part of the line that was racing northeast.
So the line break, basically the other storm kind of slowed down, and the other one kept its normal speed.
Yeah.
Man,
Exactly what happened.
That's earlier, and then it's expired.
Yeah, bulk shear vector almost straight south to north.
it's unbelievable.
That's so
Long
cool.
lasting thunder, got some anvil crawlers probably. Probably can't see any lightning at all.
Tater wagon.
The
Dalton
tater
said,
wagon
yeah.
fell over.
Can't even get that. Can't even get lightning.
Is this all? No, there will not be severe weather this evening. That is a question that we can definitely answer. This is going to be the end of it. The end of the severe weather potential.
That we could say with 100% certainty.
I wish I could. We're only 2 hours away from the 5 o'clock newscast, and we don't even have a 7-day. break
That's
yet.
crazy. Yeah, I just thought about that. Oh my goodness.
That's the worst timing.
I know. Now, let me show you a storm that is a little bit nasty.
Just got that.
Wow, what was that?
Lightning, Spyro.
Man.
That was from last night, right?
Yeah, this morning, 2:30. Same
boy.
thing.
You'll be able to mow your lawn this weekend, but if you want me to give you an excuse not to mow your lawn, you'll have to wait till September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. You're off the hook.
Got my lawn mowed yesterday before the rain came in.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, it was great.
That grass is gonna be growing good.
Mm-hmm.
Very healthy.
There is a storm that I do want you to pay attention to, and it's this. This is a little more stout. By
Yeah,
Harvey.
there's some strong winds.
Yep. Some strong winds. I want to set the storm motion for the warning. I already did. It's just second nature at this point.
Colby Ward is calling me.
All right.
Make sure he's not on speakerphone.
Just in case.
Hello, Mr. Colby Ward.
Oh, what?
What?
People need to use extreme caution. Farmington to Fayetteville. Road crews are blocking the road to work on a water line break.
Fayetteville to Farmington.
Yep.
All right.
Is that Martin Luther King Boulevard? County strong? Let me know.
Oh wait, hold on just 1 second.
You
Colby,
want-
I'm going to
you
put you on speaker real briefly.
Yep.
Just
Put
tell
him on
everybody
speakerphone.
you're welcome. Say you're welcome, Colby. You're on
You're
speaker.
welcome?
Yeah, say you're welcome to everybody in Northwest Arkansas.
Okay, you're welcome.
What can I say except
You're welcome.
welcome
Yeah,
that the storm
it's trash.
is not doing anything. Did you see anything, Colby? Any type of lowering?
No, I mean not up here. Just earlier when I saw that down over nearby Ann's, one thing I saw.
That was it, huh?
That was it. And, I didn't even have any really high winds. It's insane rain, of course, but
Yeah.
it's all 2 or 3 big wrecks. Hydroplaning, but
Yeah, but the
That-
right situation.
nothing I could discern as anything impressive.
Well, you want to get down to Scott County?
I don't think I'm gonna make it in time.
Yeah.
If the storms slow down like they did up in Northwest Arkansas, they'll have a chance.
I don't think I'm calling this one done deal dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea for you. Yeah, a lot of folks in the chat are saying, thank you, Colby. Thank you.
They're welcome, I guess.
Yes. You're welcome, I guess. That's funny.
Makes it hard to do my job, but nothing ever happens.
Well,
Yeah.
people love it.
Yes,
You're their hero.
exactly.
Oh yeah. So anyway, all right, guys. Just want to let you know we're kind of calling it off now. So hopefully most of the stuff worked.
Yeah. It did.
Yep.
Little went off a little bit though. The stream did. But yeah.
Yep. Anyway, all right, guys. So I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So I guess we can sit down, Josh, here.
Yeah. Let's do that.
There's currently one tornado warning, and it is for eastern and southeastern Polk County. We do not cover Polk County.
Yeah.
Now, maybe some other stations think they do, and maybe they do.
Yep.
We don't.
Yep.
So we're not doing Polk County. That's the National Weather Service out of Little Rock, but it's also the Little Rock television coverage.
So they'll be on that.
Uh-huh.
Anything new as far as reports?
Just the same old stuff. Just a bunch of warnings and no things.
Was that MLK?
Yes, it was
Okay.
MLK. Did you let them know?
Yeah.
Seeing multiple small vortices forming along the line from Scott to Montgomery counties right now. Most of them are in the tornado warning already. That is still currently valid. That was from the National Weather Service in Little Rock.
What were they saying? I'm sorry, I was reading.
They
comments.
just said that they were seeing multiple small vortices forming along the line from Scott to Montgomery counties. Most of them are already in the tornado warning that is still currently valid. TBS.
That looks very suspicious.
Whoa.
It's coming into a town that's southwest of Waltrek.
Yeah. That town. Yeah. that town. Yeah.
Dude, if they warned that, it's including the warning. Tornado warning
Heads up in that
canceled.
town.
Tornado warning canceled.
Oh, tornado warning is canceled.
Yep.
Wow.
Good. We would have been on and then not on. But
Got a
this could prompt a little bit more.
yeah. Maybe that
I don't
tornado
know.
warning saw that town.
I want to look. I want to look at some mesoanalysis.
Yeah.
Of course, remember this is just a model, so it's like, yeah, whatever. So number one, severe weather threats over for Northwest Arkansas. Done. That's it. Finished.
Good night. Oh, wait,
Supercell
never
composite.
mind. It's the middle of the day. I'm going to bed.
Oh,
Josh, good night.
man. Peyton, you got the 5, 5, 36, 7, 9, and 10.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
He's like, I'm game.
Oh.
No, I'll help you out. 925 wins. Why does this take so long to load?
I don't know.
I know it takes
Yeah.
forever.
Budget cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, budget cuts.
Let's go ahead and say it.
budget cuts.
Budget cuts.
Probably. Who knows?
Probably.
Budget cuts.
Budget cuts. That's my favorite thing to say.
Yeah.
If we get the forecast wrong, budget cuts.
Supercell
One model
composite,
is bad,
non-existent. Thermodynamics, surface-based cape, non-existent over us. How about 0 to 3 kilometer cape? A lot? Yeah, right. Oh, whatever.
That's cap.
Earful of it.
The cap on this app.
That's
What?
30, 35 knots.
Yeah.
It's almost
a
line.
ton of instability up here.
It's almost like normal though. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't buy
It's
it.
all trash.
Throw it in the trash.
Let's do this real quick. Do I have? Nah. Gotta do this real quick. The comp map.
Yay!
Let's look at all the energy swinging in. Oh, no wonder those storms are going on.
There's your lift. That's quite a bit of it.
That's a lot
It's
more than
about
what it was.
time.
Yeah, I know.
That'll get it done.
Boy. Not a
Whoa.
whole lot of jet stream energy.
No.
It's out west.
Strong 850 winds, so it's pretty strong. Cape is increasing. Dew points are increasing. 12-hour precipitation. Yeah, whatever. Just scrap it.
Trash.
All right. So, anyways, there's this one circulation that's showing up just to the north of Harvey, and that is something that we're watching closely, but kind of dying off. And we're done, by the way, Josh, with a severe weather threat. So
Yeah.
everything's kind of winding down.
Turning into a little flood type stuff.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
time
We
flooding
got someone
setup.
going out there to MLK, along MLK.
Yeah.
However, the back edge of the precip's moving out pretty quick, so maybe this will be a
Oh,
short-lived heavy
Yeah.
rain and flooding threat.
I told the
That'd be
producers
great.
to prepare, like,
Just
as
get
if,
out of
hey,
here.
Yeah.
You work on your newscasts as if by 5, 6 o'clock all this stuff is out. of
They
here.
should not. There's no
Yeah.
reason to have kids in the
Correct.
bathroom in
Okay.
Elkins right now.
Yes.
That was
Yes,
kind of
we
funny.
did. Sorry, yeah, I was like,
What
wait,
Josh was saying, like, it's
Yeah,
like
Dan responded to my, and I'm like, wait,
Absolutely.
with what
not.
could have been an
Zero.
answer to the question, which
Yeah,
was funny.
No, all good. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, fellas.
Sir.
We got to know, so I already contacted you. Good to go.
Oh, okay. Okay. So,
And yes, if y'all have any, if y'all come across anything, just be neutral,
Yeah.
let us know. We'll start
Yeah.
swing somebody out that way. Other
All
than
righty. So here's the deal. We've got someone saying that everybody's in the bathroom in Elkins. So this is the problem with warning and warning information. They are short fuse. They last a short time, then they expire, and people don't know when they expire.
yeah. I mean, look at radar right now.
So there's absolutely no reason to be in the shelter in Elkins.
Yeah.
In the
Get-
US,
get
they
out.
were watching Harvey closely.
You're fine.
You're fine. Everything's good. Yeah. Yeah. We're keeping a close eye on Harvey too.
You off tomorrow?
That's
Josh?
what Josh Harvison told me.
I mentioned it in Slack.
So then that leaves me alone because Zach will be in the morning, and then you're gone tomorrow. Great. Well, lovely.
I'll show you after the show.
No, we're good. We're good. All right. So here's a look at how heating, cooling, mega Doppler.
At least it's quiet.
There's an
Beautiful
area
weekend ahead. Right?
rotation. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
They're watching it pretty closely.
keep an eye southwest.
Yep.
There's a little bit of blue on radar there.
There is quite a bit of blue
Yeah,
on
there is a
radar.
lot of blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very fitting.
Yeah. For this event, for sure.
Okay. Getting some stratiform rain. Let's look at the lightning amounts.
Sure. Plus. Yeah.
What's the longest live stream for garbage? This one.
For garbage. That's,
Yeah.
for not garbage, 8.5. Was it 8.5?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was May 26th.
Decatur, I mean, that was
one of the bigger ones.
anything
that
but.
was a pretty wicked storm.
That was unbelievable. It's one supercell to remember.
Mm-hmm. All righty. Well.
That's how I feel right now, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting out of our weather coverage area very soon.
It'll probably be issued for eastern Scott County, but we're not going to go on it because it's almost out of the area.
Yep.
Can't see anything though. All right, guys. Well, I don't know. We got to get ready for the show.
We do.
At least I do.
Yeah.
But
we got you.
so here's the deal: the warnings are expired. Everything's done. We're finished. One last look at Mega Doppler. Do the reflectivity. We'll do a radar tour, and then we'll shut it down.
Yep. So here's all the storms in Northwest Arkansas. Again, all below severe limits at this time. There is going to be some stratiform lightning, some anvil crawlers. They'll be quite loud, but there's no severe weather potential in Northwest Arkansas anymore.
I don't even think we're going to get that. I mean, we'll have flooding potential, but it doesn't last.
Not
as long.
significant.
No, look at how it's moving out.
Yes. Now, River Valley, there's still one severe storm that's moving through eastern Scott County, but that's almost out of our weather coverage area. Very heavy rainfall as well near Boonville and Paris, but those storms are below severe limits. I do anticipate that to continue. And then there will be some more rain on the backside. Maybe a little bit more rain in the River Valley. You can see that stratiform rain, maybe a little bit more healthy there in those locations, which is why they have a moderate risk of excessive rainfall there.
There's a heavy rain from Mount Magazine.
Yes. But that's
right.
about it.
All right.
You did a forecast.
Back to the radar. Circulation showing up. A lot of blue in the blue community. Waltreek. Is that Waltreek or Waltrack?
I think it's
Waltreek.
Waltreek. Yeah.
Yeah, Waltreek.
I
Bluffton.
should have said that in the
Gravelly.
Slack.
What? Yeah.
Excuse me.
All right. So I think that's going to end our live stream.
I think so too.
Yep. I think that storm's going to die off. If it does go warned, it'll be for Yell County. That's National Weather Service out of Little Rock and Little Rock Television coverage. So that's why I agree. Goodbye. Chad, couldn't agree more. Adios. See you later. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. God bless. And we'll keep you updated. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.